That negative voice inside your head that's telling you that you suck and you can't do it, that's not your voice. That's not actually your voice. That's not you telling yourself that you suck. That voice was planted there. That voice was put there by somebody else in your life, and probably early on growing up telling you that you can't do something. You were not born. You didn't come out of the womb and say, I suck. I can't do anything. No, you're playing, you're experimenting, you're finding joy, you're laughing, you're doing it. And then along the way, people tell you that you can't do it, that you should stop, that you should quit, that it's not going to work out, that you can't do it. And we've been so conditioned around that we take it on and we think it's our voice. When you come up with an idea, right? Just workshop this. You come up with an idea. It's like, oh, I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. I'm gonna launch this business. I'm going to whatever. You come up with your bucket list, your dream life, your vision board. You come up with a list of ideas, things that you think that you want to do, things that you feel confident that you'd love to create for yourself, right? Okay. What happens the next day? The next day, it's not even telling our friends. You know, I think we blame our friends and say, well, we tell our friends and they're going to be negative and they crap on our idea, and so we don't do it. Well, before that happens, we crap on our own ideas, right? You look at that list the next day and say, I can't do that. Who was I yesterday? This crazy person that I used to be yesterday who thought I could do that. It's ourselves telling ourselves that we suck. But the problem is we've taken on that voice and we think that it's us. That's not your voice. That is not your voice telling you that you suck. That is somebody else's voice that was planted in your head, that has been conditioned to be there, that we're so used to being there that we have taken on as our voice. It has become your identity. But it was not your voice. It was put there. It was a seed that was planted that has been grown over time, and you need to rip that weed out. That is not your voice. You do not think that you suck. It's other people with low expectations who hate their own lives, who at some point went and tried something that did not work out for their life, and now nobody around them can have success because it makes them look and feel bad. And so they spend their time ripping other people down and apart. That's who planted that weed in your head. That might hit pretty hard. I hope it does. Because when that happens, if you can actually digest that, what ends up happening is you think, oh, whose voice is that? Whose voice is in my head? And that's great awareness, to know that it's not your voice, and then to identify whose voice it is. Who told you these things? Who made you feel this way growing up? And if you think about who that person is, if you can actually picture somebody, oh, that was Uncle Joe, or oh, that was my grade 3 teacher, oh, or that was my, the bully at school, whoever that person was. Now think about, okay, it's that person's voice, not you. That's already incredibly liberating. But then too, do you want to live that person's life? Like, think about that person. Probably they're not living a great life. They're not hitting their potential. They're not even happy with what they're doing. If somebody's spending their day tearing other people down, what kind of painful life does that person have to have when they go home? You don't want their life. If you don't want their life, then you definitely don't want their voice in your head anymore. Hopefully that creates an aha moment for you that starts to actually shift things, because we've been so conditioned to listen to that voice that we don't recognize that we actually have a choice to rip it out and start to listen to our own voice. So that's step 1. Step 2 then is, whatever you want more of in your life, you need to be surrounded by it more. You need to change the environment. Your environment has been perfectly designed to keep you where you are. And if you're watching this video, I love you. Thank you for being here. You are probably the happiest, most optimistic, most positive, most caring, most pouring into other people that's in your environment. Like, if you think about you and your friends and your family, you're the most optimistic person in your family. You're the most positive person in your family. You're the most ambitious person in your family. You're the one who wants to care and serve the most in your family, right? But you're capable of way more, right? You can do way more than what you're doing right now. And so you end up being this big fish in a really tiny pond, where you're serving others and pouring into others, and you wish they could do more. And that's amazing. Don't stop caring for others, but you need more of a push yourself. You need to be around the people who are doing things that you want to do on a higher level. So the environment really matters, and your environment right now is good. It's not terrible. Maybe it is terrible, but it's not great. Most likely it's just good. And it keeps you stuck, and it keeps you in slow growth mode, and it prevents you from becoming the person that you actually want to be. So how do you start to shift that? Well, you shift your environment. And you may say, well, Evan, I don't know people who are super accomplished and are living the life that I want to live. I don't have any of those friends. If I did, I wouldn't be still stuck here. And I hear you. I get it. So the fastest way to do it isn't through actually trying to make those friends. It's through what I call aspirational mentors. It's by watching videos like this. You may never meet me. You may never meet Mel Robbins. You may never meet whoever your heroes are, but you can learn from it through these videos. Whoever you want more of, whoever you respect and maybe are even jealous of, that they can think that way and live that way, be around them more. Look at who you subscribe to on YouTube. Look at who you subscribe to and follow on Instagram. Look at the books you read and the podcasts you listen to and the shows that you watch. Are they from the people who make you feel better about yourself and give you hope, inspiration, and courage to go live your dream? And if not, then switch it out. Switch it out. If you are watching YouTube and you just found that you wasted the last 3 hours of your life, it's not YouTube's fault. It's your fault. You're subscribed and watching the wrong videos, because there's a lot of positivity out there. If you close a YouTube session, you feel worse about yourself, then you subscribe to the wrong channels. If you're watching this video and feel worse about yourself, one, I sincerely apologize. And two, you should unfollow me and go follow somebody that makes you feel more hopeful and alive. Because if you started your day with the thing that made you feel hopeful, alive, bold, confident, powerful, things are possible, your life will change. But we need that external stimulus. You are a product of your environment. You have to have those people around you. You can have Elon Musk and Mel Robbins and Tony Robbins and whoever pushing you every day. You can have them pushing you every day by consuming their content. We just happen to be enslaved by the things that are around us that we haven't designed with intention. That's all. You know, YouTube, the algorithm is so addictive. It's so addictive. You get one video that then takes you down another path, and now all of a sudden you've just watched 3 hours of videos on something that doesn't make your life better and you don't actually really care about. You just got sucked into the drama of a certain storyline. Has that ever happened to you? Remember, I watched the Michael Jordan tribute, The Last Dance, and I went to research one of the storylines of Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan to see kind of what the 2022 updated version was. And all of a sudden, I got down this rabbit hole of Scottie Pippen versus Michael Jordan, and 3 hours later, there's still other videos to watch. Like, what am I doing? This is a waste of time. I don't even care that much about these guys. I watched The Last Dance. It was a great documentary, and I learned from it, and I love the drive and tenacity and hustle, but I don't care about the drama between Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And so we will easily default back into that comfort mode and back into consuming drama. You have to, with intention, try to bring that back. So here's a great homework assignment. Go look at your YouTube homepage and see what's being recommended to you. And how many of those videos, whether it's my channel or other channels, how many of the videos on your homepage right now will make you a better human, will make you feel more proud of yourself, will make you feeling hopeful, confident, courageous, ready to take some action on some of your goals? And how many of them are drama? How many of them are pure entertainment? How many of them will lead to some giant rabbit hole that you don't want to go down? If you actually set out your calendar and say, how do I want to spend my day with intention? How many of these videos would actually lead you towards that path? Right? And for too many people, it's not a pretty picture. We're listening to the wrong people. And so you can change that. You could change that. If we circle back, you recognize that the negative voice in your head is not your voice. It was planted there by somebody else who hates their life, and you don't want their life. Then you switch it to say, okay, well, whose life do I want? And ultimately, you want your best version of your life. But to get there, you're taking different pieces from different people's lives. Like, oh, I like how he does that and she does that and she does this. And you're pulling different people, different things from different people. And then you start to surround yourself with that. And the shift doesn't happen overnight. But if you're constantly pouring these people into you, if you're constantly pouring Evan Carmichael into you, you're going to start to believe more in yourself. And if you're constantly pouring other people into you, you're going to start thinking like them, behaving like them, taking on their mindsets and their beliefs. And if those are beliefs that you want and the mindset that you want, amazing. You get to choose now. You're in control. You've been a product of your environment, your early environment with negativity, your ongoing environment with probably just mediocrity keeping you where you are. And now you can change it. You can shift it. You can decide to be in a different spot 1 year from today. And the most important step you can do is to start choosing and carefully decide with intention who you want to be around so that in 1 year from now, you are in a different spot, not just for you, but so you can serve others and lift them up to catch up as well.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Nina Carmichael, and we make these videos probably because you're the most ambitious person in your circle. But you know you're capable of more, and you need that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, my husband Evan Carmichael, and our take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy! Rule number 2, do meaningful work.
There is no work-life balance. There's just life. The fact that we are separating work from life, I think is a big problem. I think that's why most people hate their life, because we don't see work as a part of life. Your work is a part of life. Your work should fuel your life. Your work should give you purpose and meaning. We all want to wake up and feel like we matter and we're going to do something today in our work that's going to create some kind of positive impact, right? On the days when you wake up and you feel like today is going to matter, I'm going to make something that is going to matter to another human being, maybe 1 million people, maybe one person, but today is going to matter. Those are the days that you love your life and you feel amazing and you feel like you're contributing and you feel like this is why I do what I do. And on the days when you feel like it doesn't matter, nobody cares if you show up, you're not making anything meaningful, there is no contribution, those are the days where you hate your life. There is no work-life balance, guys. It's just life. When I'm on podcasts and people ask me this question, like, what does work-life balance mean to you? Or they ask me some variation of it, like, how many hours a day do you work? Or what does your work calendar look like? It's like, well, what's work to you? Is my usual response. Now I'm sitting here on your show. I'm having a great time. We're doing this podcast together. Is this work for you? Like, does this count as work? Because I don't see this as work. This isn't work. This is fun. This is fun for me. This is my life. I like this. When I see this podcast in my calendar, I'm excited by it. I don't look at it as work. Making these videos, I don't see it as work. That's why I've been able to stay so consistent, right? How do I not burn out? It's another question I get asked a lot. How do you not burn out? How do you make so many videos? How do you not burn out? A lot of people burn out nowhere even close to the number of videos that I've done over how many years? 13 years? A lot of years. Guys, it's been a lot of years of showing up and making over 10,000 videos. Crazy. How? Why? Well, because it doesn't feel like work. This is part of my life. This is what a purposeful life looks like. If I saw it as work, I would have quit and given up years ago. I mean, a decade plus ago. There are some pieces of what I do that feels like work. You know, doing accounting stuff feels like work. I hate that stuff. Doing administrative stuff, paperwork, legal stuff, that feels like work. I burn out very quickly. I want to spend the least amount of time as possible on that. I want to hire people, have a great lawyer, have a great accountant, have a great bookkeeper, have people help me with that stuff because I do not enjoy it. It feels like work. And if my calendar was just filled with that stuff, I would hate my life. So I don't believe in work-life balance. I reject the premise of the entire question. It's just life. How do you want to spend your life? And this is one of the greatest things that we have as entrepreneurs. You get to decide what your life is. You get to pick the business you go into. You don't have a boss besides the customers, but you still also get to pick which customers that you work with. And your work should be something that is a source of joy for you and a source of energy for you. Because when you love what you're doing every day, it will bring you a lot more happiness and satisfaction in your life. So it's all just life. One of the great things I think that you can do is look at your calendar, see what's coming up in the next couple weeks, couple months, and are you excited by the things that are in your calendar? And I put everything in my calendar. I love living by my calendar. I don't know if it's because I don't remember what I'm doing, tomorrow, or I'm so present focused that I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing tomorrow. So I have it in my calendar. And I think it also reduces anxiety for me to know that I've got days for things. So making videos, I don't worry during the week about making videos because I know on Tuesday it's my video day and I'll get it all done. And if I get an idea for video, I'll email myself and I'll look at that on Tuesday. So it's in my calendar. So I have a spot for everything. So I'm not constantly worried. Before I had a calendar, I'd be worried and anxious about, when am I going to get this done? When do I have time to do this? And that would stress me out. Where now, okay, I know I'm going to do that on Tuesday. When am I going to have time to mentor my team? Okay, I'm going to have Monday. When am I going to have time to have, to clean up the condo and do grocery shopping or whatever? Okay, that's Sunday, right? So it's all in the calendar. So at least for me, having a calendar has been life-changing. But what ends up happening is we don't put everything in our calendar. We just put our meetings in our calendar. Where I put everything. I put time with Nina on my calendar, time with my son on my calendar, time playing League of Legends and Minecraft is in my calendar. Stuff it's in my calendar. So I have time to get everything I want out of life done. You have time. This reason of I don't have time. You have time. Like if I was to step into your life and see what you were doing every day, there's a lot of wasted time. There's a lot of unintentional time. So the whole idea of having a calendar is to be more intentional. Be more intentional with how you're spending your time. And if you do that, then you can look at your week ahead, your month ahead, and are you excited? This is all life, right? Forget work-life balance, it's all life. So you look at your life, what's in your calendar. Are you excited by the things that are in there? Are you excited by the projects you're working on? Are you excited by the people you're going to be connecting with? Are you excited by the amount of time you're spending just to yourself? Whether that's meditation or yoga or working out or swimming or walking or whatever. Are you spending enough time just for you? Are you excited about the life that is in your calendar? And if not, then change it. What are we doing here? This is why you became an entrepreneur. If you want to live somebody else's version of your life, go get a job where you're told what to do, you're told when to show up, you're told what you have to work on. That's a job. That's why most people hate their lives, because they're being told what to do constantly all the time. They have no freedom. If you want to be an entrepreneur and have ultimate freedom, then let's take control of our calendar, because we're not. Most entrepreneurs that I meet feel out of control, are wasting a ton of time, feel like they're not spending their time being intentional, know they're capable of so much more, know they can be a lot more efficient, a lot more productive, a lot more purposeful with how they're spending their time. So if there's nothing in your calendar that's exciting you, then you do not like your life, because your calendar is a reflection of how you're spending your life. So change it. Now, maybe that's a drastic change, or maybe that's a minor change. And this is an ongoing evolution. Whenever I feel unhappy, not like depressed, because that doesn't really happen, but when I'm feeling like the energy's off, probably a better way to put it. Whenever I feel like the energy is off, for one day, not the end of the world, right? For one day, just go do the thing that's in your calendar because you said you were going to do it, right? But if that's happening for a couple days in a row, or if it's happening for Tuesdays, is my filming day, for example, if I had 2 or 3 Tuesdays in a row where I feel the energy is really off and I'm not enjoying making videos, then I need to pivot. And it's either I need to make different kinds of videos, Or I need to just stop making videos. That may happen. I'm willing to drop things if it doesn't bring me joy anymore. And we, as humans, stay in things for far too long. Like, there are things that you're holding on to that you should have dropped maybe years ago, and you're still doing it. Why? Because it's a habit, a routine, or it's sunk costs. Like, you had this goal 5 years ago that doesn't even matter to you anymore, but you've built your self-identity around it. Be willing to let go of things sooner, because you'll never win doing work that you hate. And so there may come a day where I just drop my YouTube channel, all of them, because it doesn't fill me with joy anymore. Now, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, because I still love doing this stuff.
Rule number 3, praise your effort, not the result.
Everything in your life changes when you learn to tie your self-worth to your effort instead of the results. Most people tie their self-worth to the results, to winning. You only feel good about yourself when you win. If that's how you think, then you're screwed. Because that person only takes on projects that you know you have a pretty high chance of winning at. And therefore, you play small for life. The key is to tie your self-worth to the effort, to trying. And if you do that well, you'll win beyond your wildest imaginations. So let's use me as an example. Look at this video right here, this video. 2 minutes before getting on and making this video, I'm nervous. I'm scared. I don't want to do it. I'm trying to find a reason why I don't have to do this video. Now why? I've done 6,000 of these videos. Do I not love it anymore? No, that's not it. I love doing it. So why am I afraid? Who cares? I've done 6,000. The answer is because I don't want to make it the same way that I've done the past 6,000. I want to push harder. I want to push and do something new. If I was just doing what I've already done, then it'd be easy. Right? If you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, it becomes easy, but then you get bored. You start to hate your life. You start realizing that everything is just a photocopy over and over and over and over and over again. And so, how do I push through? I put this pressure on myself to say this video right now has to be the best video that I've ever made. That's my intention going in to every time I'm filming. Most days I don't accomplish it. When you're trying something new and scary and bigger and bolder, most of the time you won't get it. You fail a lot. But I tie my self-worth, my respect, to the effort I'm trying. And every now and then, you'll make a bit of a breakthrough. You get a bit of a win. And then those accumulate. And then you get another one, and another win, and another win. And so the answer isn't have a big goal and then find a reason why you can't do it. The answer isn't dream big and then convince yourself of some logical excuse for why you're not going to take action. The answer is to push through. The answer is you're scared and you're going to do it anyway. The answer for me is I'm going to make another video. I'm going to try and push myself harder. And I think that's what achievers do, because achievers are failing more than you. Because most days I get up and fail. Most days I'm just failing. It's another failure, another failure, another failure. But the more you fail, the more you're eventually going to win. I'm going to get massive results. Because you tie your self-worth to your ability to get up and try again, and try again, and try again, and pat yourself on the back for the effort you're putting in, not just when you're winning. So how do you do it? I'm going to give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1 is what I call the pillow test. This is my actual pillow that when I'm in Toronto, I sleep on every single night. And the pillow test is make yourself proud before you hit your head on the pillow. Right? Before you go to sleep tonight, before your head hits your pillow, you ask yourself, am I proud of my effort today? Not how much did I win, not did I get the results I was looking for, not did I get my 1,000,000 views or close that big sale. Are you proud of your effort? Are you proud of your effort? Can you put your head on your pillow tonight and say, man, I am proud of the effort that I put in? That's the test. That's the test for tonight. That's your test for tomorrow night, and the night after that, and the night after that, and the night after that. And the more that you get a yes, to say, yeah, heck yeah, I'm proud of my effort. You do that, you watch your business explode. Step number 2 is expect to suck at the start. Anytime you're trying something new, expect to suck. Don't expect to just try something new and it's amazing. This is where a lot of people fall down. You've had some success, you're at a certain level, you're going to try something new. Before you go up, you're probably going to go down. That's part of the experimentation process. It doesn't mean you suck as a human. It just means that you don't have the skill sets, the talents yet. You're trying something new. I haven't brought props in on my videos before. That was a new test. I expect it to suck. Maybe on an off chance it works. Amazing, I learned from it. But when you're trying something, it's brand new, you don't have the confidence in it yet, you're still figuring out the path, expect to suck. When you put so much of your worth into expecting to be great the first time out, here's what happens. You try one thing, you record one video, you watch it back, say, man, that sucked, and then you never make a video again. Meanwhile, if you just kept doing it, you would eventually be awesome. You would eventually crush it. Go back and watch my first videos. Go back to my main channel. Go back to the beginning, see where I started. I've kept them all up so you can see the journey, the progress of how much I sucked at the very beginning. It took me 350 videos until I wasn't embarrassed by my content. I was so embarrassed I couldn't watch it back. 350 videos, but I kept going. The problem is people are quitting on things too soon. You quit on something too soon because you're not getting immediate results. Expect to suck. It doesn't mean that you suck as a human. It just means you don't have the skills yet. And how do you get the skills? By practicing. And number 3 is ask yourself, what would the most bold version of you do? I got this question when I was talking to my video guy, Danny, who came to me with a really important personal problem in his life at the time. And I said, what would the most bold version of you do? It just came out. Man, I love that. And anytime he doesn't know what to do, he asks himself that question, what would the most bold version of me do? It's a great question because it allows you to push through a lot of your fears, a lot of your insecurities, to force yourself to be bold. And you want to be bold. You're meant to be bold. You're meant to create amazing, wonderful things. You want that big vision of yours to come true. You are bold. You are courageous. But we don't live in that land very often. And so if you ask that question, what would the most bold version of you do today? What it does is wash away a lot of those fears and insecurities and gives you the answer that you're actually looking for.
Rule number 4, keep practicing.
Practice gives you ultimate freedom. The more you practice, the better you get at something, the more skilled you are at it, the more information you have, the more it actually allows you to play more, have more fun, be more flexible, and have ultimately more freedom. This is something I struggled with a lot in the early days of my speaking career. I was asked to speak at a bunch of events, and this is 20 years ago, I guess. I've had as a speaking career now, and I used to be so worried about disappointing people that I would memorize my entire speech. I would practice and practice and practice and practice and practice and just memorize my speech to the point where, word for word, it would be the exact same thing every time. And I thought that was good. I thought that's what you're supposed to do. Obviously, yes, practice makes perfect. Keep going, keep practicing, keep doing it. And what ended up happening was, yes, I delivered the same speech each time, but I think the worst thing you can do as a speaker is just give the exact same speech every time. We did a session of movement makers around signature talk. It was one of the most voted topics, was how do I give my signature talk? And I think having one signature talk is actually not great. I think you should be able to speak to the audience every time. Your job, if you're a speaker, is to give your audience a fantastic experience. And so it's knowing who's in the audience. Don't assume it's the same people every single time, right? So you have to be able to know so much about your subject that then you can have your framework that you operate in, but then give a lot more value to people by making it custom to them. So now whenever I'm doing a speaking gig, I'm always asking, okay, tell me about the audience. Tell me who's here. Tell me why people are setting it up. What are people here for? Both in terms of the information they're hoping to get, as well as their background and their interests and their concerns and what they struggle with. And of course, there's genuine human struggles that everybody goes through, but why are people here at this conference? And so here's my process right now when I'm doing a speech or talk. They're going to have me come in, they're going to talk about belief or entrepreneurship or YouTube. There's going to be some set themes. You're not having me come to talk about my apple strudel recipe because I don't have one, right? I'm coming in to talk about things that are inside my domain. Perfect. And I could easily just get up on stage and talk, but I want to know who's in the audience. So before going, I'll ask them, tell me about the people who are going to be here. And then I'll frame my speech around a couple of key ideas that I think would be valuable to that audience, still sitting within kind of my usual domain. Perfect. I'll practice it. I'll practice giving a speech. I'll practice the points. At home, I'll practice talking to my dog. I'll practice on the airplane, on the way over, I'll practice to kind of get a sense of the stories that I want to tell that I think will be the right fit. But then the day before and the day of, I like to be there a little early to talk to people. One, makes me feel a little more comfortable, be able to connect to people in the audience. So it's not just people I don't know, but I've had a few conversations with people. But two, in feeling the vibe out of the event, I'll often end up switching up part of my talk. Again, to make it as customizable as possible to the people that I'm talking to. And this isn't just a speaking thing, guys. This is any interaction you're doing. You're trying to sell your product, trying to sell your service. You're on a call with somebody who could use your product or service, hire you as a coach, etc. You have to customize your pitch, customize your talk for them. Not just give the same thing every single time you're talking to somebody. You have to know what makes them tick, know why they're talking to you, what their deep desires and fears are, and address those things so that you can close the sale, right? It's the same thing. I'm just giving an example through speaking. So it's being willing to deviate from your talk to actually give more value. And I think, again, the worst thing you can do as a speaker is just get on stage and give the same talk every single time. That's what I used to think was the way to go, but this is actually a lot more valuable, because you can inspire people, but one, it becomes boring for you to get up and just do the same thing over and over and over again. And two, if you can customize it to actually address the thing that they are specifically concerned about, you're going to have a bigger impact. Why are you there? You're there to touch people. You're there to move people to a positive direction, right? Again, whether you're speaking or you're just talking to somebody on the phone, a potential client, why are you working with them? Yes, they're going to pay you, but why? You want them to get a result. You want them to move. You want them to make a change. You want to solve a problem for them. And so the more you can actually connect to what they're struggling with, the easier it is for you to close the sale and have the impact that you're trying to have. So it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more impactful, a lot more meaningful. And so that's my usual process now. Why are people here? I'll prepare a version of my speech to address those people. And then it always changes up the day of, because I met somebody in the lobby who inspired me, or I met somebody on the airplane the day before who shifted my thinking a little bit and gives me an extra story to tell. And when you're so prepared and you know your stuff so much, it's easy to add those things in. When you don't really know, you're kind of all over the place. So it's being overly prepared, and then the day of being willing to be flexible. It's that like rigidity of practice and practice and practice and knowing what you're doing so much that allows you to play when you show up. It's if you go into sports, you practice your free throws so much, you practice your penalty shots so much, you practice so much that allows you to be a lot more flexible and play when it comes to game time. Let me share another quick example from the opposite side where I was interviewing somebody. So instead of being the person on stage speaking, I'm interviewing somebody. And I recently had Tony Robbins on the channel. And it was the third time he came on the channel. The first two interviews we did had 3 million views on them combined, which is amazing. And he's coming back for the third time, talking about his new book. And I'm always nervous before a big interview. And this is probably the least nervous I've been because it's the third time on, but I was still nervous going in. And so I'm preparing. I'm trying to find a thread that I care about. I don't want to just ask the same questions everybody else has asked. I don't want to just use the questions that his PR agency sent over because he's going to answer those questions on every other show. I want it to be different and unique and fun and special. And so I prepared. I know I've got half an hour with him. I know he likes to go long in his stories, so you don't get that many questions in. So I need to really be careful of what I'm going to say and make this time count. It'd be easy just to show up and ask, okay, why did you write this book? What does it mean to you? What do you hope people get from it? What was your favorite part about it? And then half an hour is done and you haven't really asked anything super meaningful. So I'm preparing. And I wrote down on a notepad file that I had open when I was talking to him, 5 questions that I wanted to ask. And I practiced how I would ask them. I practiced, what I was going to say. And then I practiced it so much that come game time, come showtime, here we go. Tony's coming on. Let's do our one-on-one. I was able to actually be present and listen to what it was saying and play ball with him, right? To throw and catch with him instead of just going to the questions. When you haven't prepared and you're really insecure, you just go to the questions. You just go, okay, here's what I said. Okay, here, and just ask the questions. Where the best interviews are when you can throw and catch, right? Where they say something and you take that a little bit deeper, as opposed to just moving on to the next question. Because I've watched a lot of interviews in the work that I do, and one of the things that I find most frustrating is the person says something amazing and you want them to, it's like, okay, ask a follow-up question. And instead of asking a follow-up question, they just go to the next question. Because the interviewer, it was never even listening to what the interviewee was saying. They're just so worried about getting the next question in that's all they're thinking about. And so like, okay, great. And then tell me about this next question without going deeper into the conversation. So I didn't want to be that kind of interviewer. Even I get it, because you're nervous. You're not fully prepared. You're worried about the questions. So one example with Tony, he was talking about a recent health scare that he had and that his career would be over. The doctor said, your career is over. And in my head, I was thinking about some of the other stuff I knew about Tony Robbins. And so I asked him,
how many times have you been told that your career is over?
It was off script, right? It wasn't something his team prepared. It wasn't something Tony's maybe been asked. And I asked him, how many times have you been told that your career has been over? Because I remember, he had this tumor that made him grow crazy quickly. And people said his life would be over. I remember he burned out his voice box, and his doctors told him he'd never speak on stage again. And now this injury that happened to him, he wasn't gonna be able to go and do his event. So he's been told consistently that his career would be over. And yet he still gets up and he finds a way and he does it, right? And one of the things that we love about his ability to follow through and stay consistent. And so in the over preparation and knowing his story, and also knowing that I had questions to fall back on in case there was a lull in the conversation, it allows the play. It allows the freedom. It allows you to adjust to the situation, which then creates a much better experience. So whether you're speaking, whether you're interviewing, whether you're coaching, whether you're mentoring, whether you're on a sales call, you need to know your script. You need to know what you're going to say. You need to understand your customer and who you're talking to. You need to know all that and over prepare. But then understand that the greatest asset that you have is not in rehearsing again the script. It's that you have the ability to be free now, that you can play because you've done all the drills, and now you need to have the back and forth. It's throwing and catching. I'm going to throw the ball to you. You're going to catch it. You're going to throw the ball back to me. It's not just throwing, where a lot of times the biggest mistake is that you're just throwing. You're just throwing another one and another one. And here's my other line. Here's my next question. Here's my next pitch. Throw. And the person might be saying, but there's no receiving and them throwing the ball back to you. That's the best part in any interaction. If you have a goal to get them to move forward, to make a change in their life, to sign you up, to hire you, to work with you so that you can make that impact that you're trying to make, there has to be that back and forth. And the more prepared you are, the easier it is to then have the freedom to play.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5, believe that you are amazing.
What you believe about yourself is the only thing that matters. At the end of the day, no matter how much outside affirmations you get or other people telling you that you're amazing, if you don't believe in your heart that you are amazing, none of that will last. Like, have you ever gone to an event, or you ever made a video or created something, or you're hanging out with a friend and they tell you how amazing you are, and that feels good, right? Like the external affirmations and validation feels great, but then it fades. That stuff doesn't last. You don't have somebody being a cheerleader for you every day, showing up in your bedroom saying, hooray, go do this, you're amazing, right? We don't have that. You have to be that for yourself. If you're constantly only getting your value as a human being from other people when they tell you that you're amazing, you're never going to love your life. You're never going to love yourself. It has to come from you. It has to come from you telling yourself and you believing that you are amazing. Well, okay, so that's a lot of words. How do you actually go off and do it? So I think for me, this is why I believe that lack of belief is the world's number one problem. You know, I can go and meet somebody and fill them full of belief for a moment, but if they still don't believe in themselves and they're going home back to a life that they had before because they don't believe in themselves enough. And so you have to design habits and routines and systems and schedules to slowly shift your belief in yourself forward every single day. And a good chunk of that is what you say about yourself. When you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you say? When you think about yourself, what do you say? A lot of the stuff that we say about ourselves, we wouldn't say to our worst enemies. It's rough. I actually think it's great to be your own worst critic. I think it's great. I think for a lot of people, we're not hard enough on ourselves. Let me stick with me for a minute. We're not hard enough on ourselves because in order to get to where you want to go, you actually need to push yourself more. The problem is why we can't do it is we don't love ourselves enough. We're not our biggest cheerleader enough. You have to balance those two things. We're very hard on ourselves, but because there's no self-love, we're not cheering ourselves on enough. We're not our biggest cheerleader. You can't handle it. Most people are already at the breaking point, you know, like I'm sitting here in a parking lot, these, you know, those, I guess it's kind of blurry. You can't really see them, but people hate their lives. They're barely hanging on. Most people are barely hanging on. We're barely hanging on to what we're doing. We can post all these great things on Instagram or wherever and make it look like we're enjoying our life, but most people are barely hanging on. The people who are judging you for your life and telling you that you suck hate their own lives. They are barely hanging on. So how do we get through it? Well, yes, we can be harder on ourselves, but we need to balance that with more self-love. You have to remind yourself of why you're great, what you're proud of, what you're grateful for. And it has to be consistent. Otherwise, you'll never get to where you want to go. And when you love yourself more, that actually allows you to be harder on yourself. When you love yourself more and you actually feel it, you can push yourself harder. You can be more demanding of yourself because it's not going to push you over the edge because you're not tying your self-worth to you accomplishing that thing. And when you don't accomplish it, you feel like a loser. It's starting from a place of I'm amazing that allows you to be way harder on yourself. When I go to events, a YouTube event, for example, if I'm talking about anything entrepreneurship or YouTube related, I'm going in thinking I'm kick-ass. And because I feel that, I don't need to say that. Like a lot of times we feel like we need to say that because it's masking an insecurity, right? It's like those people who, we've seen those memes where when people make a little bit of money, they've got all these chains and everything, but then the people who are ultra rich, who have all the money, you look even Jay-Z, like early Jay-Z, you know, he's got all his chains and everything, and now he's like, doesn't care, you know, he's just walking around in a t-shirt and some jeans because he doesn't need to front, because he's just so self-confident now that it doesn't matter. Now it's actually expression instead of masking an insecurity. Most of us are just masking insecurities instead of actually being self-confident. And so when I'm going to an event, if I'm talking about YouTube, I'm walking in feeling amazing, and I don't need to walk around and say, hey, look at me. And it's actually the opposite. I can go up and say, hey, where do I suck? It's my favorite question to ask. Why do I suck? Where do I suck? Can you point it out? If I can find one person to tell me where I suck at something, how my videos suck, my thumbnails suck, I don't believe that they suck, right? I think they're amazing. But because I think they're so amazing, it allows me to go a lot harder on myself. And so people will give their honest opinion and say, hey, here's how I think it could be better. And so I think we need to do that more in our lives. We need to cheer ourselves up more. We need to cheer ourselves on more. So how do we do it? Let me share some practical tips for you to execute. Number 1, music in the morning. Every morning, one of the most important things that I do is I put music on. And it's music that makes me move, makes me dance, there's some songs that if they came on, you would have to move, right? It doesn't mean that you're up and like dancing through the whole house, going crazy in your underwear first thing in the morning, but something that even if it's just making your head bob, there are songs that if they came on would make your head bob. And you'd probably be singing, maybe not out loud, but singing under your breath, humming a tune along. And be intentional with the lyrics. Because if we're singing out lyrics that are negative, that has a lasting impact. But if you're singing out lyrics that are positive, that also has a lasting impact. So be intentional with music that you put on every day. First, start your day with music. It's the fastest way to change your state, to go from feeling low and tired and just what day is it? What am I doing? I wake up every day like, what day is it? What am I doing today? Yeah, but I demand excellence, and that starts with music, because I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to get into the right state of mind. I can command it whenever I want just by putting on the right song. So be intentional with your music and the lyrics being positive. 2, connect to the work that you're doing and how meaningful it is. So the next thing I'll do is I'll take the dogs out, and then I'll go for what I call a believe walk. And this is probably the most important part of my morning routine, is I go for a believe walk. And it's a minimum of 20 minutes and it's a maximum of an hour. And I'll go for a walk by myself with 20 pounds on my back. I'll go rucking. I'll walk to Tim Hortons usually, get a coffee. This costs $2, $2 something. So if I only had, what's the best money I spend every year? Well, it's the $700 of going on my believe walk and getting the coffee every morning. And I'm thinking about what's my intention for the day. And I'm thinking about what I want to accomplish today and the lives that I want to serve and the people I want to help and what I'm about to do today. And it's a mini celebration where most of the time we wake up like an accident, right? You wake up, you're probably late for something, you immediately look at your phone. What's on your phone? It's other people's demands for your time, other people's emergencies of what they think you should do with your schedule today, right? That's what's in your phone. All the DMs and the emails and the texts and the missed calls and all, it's all other people's agenda for your time. That is not an intentional life. We wake up like an accident and start falling into what other people want us to do today. That's not what you need to do, and you need to protect your time. So the morning, having a believe walk for me, if you want to go on your own, whether it's 20 minutes or an hour, that's really just a feel thing too. I don't book anything until 10:30 at the earliest in my calendar. Most of my meetings would be 11. First meeting would be 11. Movement makers and Brandlytics, I'll start at 10:30. And before that, there's nothing officially planned or scheduled, so that it gives my morning free to do whatever I want to do. And so if I want to go for an hour-long believe walk instead of 20 minutes, I can do that because I'm thinking, because I'm brainstorming, because I'm going through an idea. I treat that as walking meditation. If you like to meditate. I mean, it's the same thing. I just find meditation doesn't really help me that much. I like something a little more active, so I go for my believe walks. Do those two things. Put on a playlist, put on music every morning with lyrics that inspire you, and then go for a believe walk. 20 minutes to think about what you want to do today, what you want to accomplish, how you want to spend your time, where you want to be intentional, so you can start living the life that you want to live. Because the only thing that matters is how you feel about yourself. Are you proud of you today? Are you happy with what you've done today? Are you joyful in how you showed up for you today? And yes, we ultimately want to serve and help others, but the only thing that matters is how you feel about yourself. So we can stop relying on external validation and somebody else's words of affirmation for us to feel worthy, and flip it to say, I am worthy. I am amazing. I can do great things. And when you can shift into that energy, you will do great things.
Rule number 6, overcome the fear of failure.
The biggest fear we have isn't failure. You're not afraid of failing. The biggest fear we have is of failing in front of other people. You're afraid of people's judgments. The reason why we stay stuck, the reason why you still are where you are, is because you're afraid of other people's opinions. You have great ideas inside you. You have great ideas. If you're watching this video, you're subscribed to this channel, you have great ideas. You know you're capable of more. You know you want to serve. You know you want to help. And great ideas are flowing through you, and we shut them off. We shut them off because we find a logical reason why we can't do it, right? The logical reasons in our head are, well, the timing's not right, or I don't have the gear, or I don't have the connections, or, I'm in the wrong country, or whatever logical excuse that we come up with. Listen, it's based in reality. It's actually based in fact, because you're a smart person. You wouldn't believe a stupid reason. So the reasons that we're listening to are actually based in some kind of fact, but they're still an excuse. And underneath that reason why you can't do something is because you're afraid. You're afraid, I'm afraid, we're afraid of taking the next step. And the fear underlying that is not the fear of it not working out. It's the fear of it not working out and who's going to see you fail. We're so tied up into what other people think about us that we'd rather play small for life than actually go off and accomplish and risk failing in front of other people. We're so afraid of that we never go off and chase our dreams down. And you're stuck in this mental exercise of what you could do and then never actually doing anything. My biggest fear is disappointing people. That's still fear of judgment. It's still fear of I'm going to show up and speak at an event and it's just not going to go well, that people will be unhappy with my speech. And I put a crazy amount of pressure on myself. And in my head, I think people are here, and if I struggle, then the whole thing is ruined, right? I remember I was speaking at Brendan Burchard's event, and it was in Puerto Rico, and people are paying tons of money to be here. It was a $30,000 to $50,000 mastermind, and everybody's got giant businesses, right? These are multi-million-dollar businesses, owners who are in the house. And it was a multiple day event. I think it was a 3-day event. And I'm speaking for one of them. Not even a whole day. I've got an hour or something of time, right, at that event. In my head, it's if I suck on stage, then people will freak out and be unhappy and say this was a total waste of an event. Where really, I'm a really tiny nothing part of this event, right? I mean, people are there to see Brendan Burchard, to see Dean Graziosi, to see the other speakers there. If any one speaker sucks, if Brendan sucked, that's a big deal because he's speaking for 80% of the time. If I suck for 1 hour, nobody's really going to care. Nobody's really going to be asking for a refund. But even though that's the actual answer, it's not the thing that's in my head. And that's what we need to fight. That's what we need to fight. Because I used to say no to opportunities because I was really deep down just afraid that I would not be able to deliver. I remember that I used to secretly hope people would cancel on me. I would secretly hope that interviews would cancel on me, that meetings would cancel on me. I remember I would book something out like it's 2 months in advance, right? I don't know if this has ever happened to you. If this makes sense, or if it's happened to you, let me know in the comments. I would book something out that was a month in advance or 2 months in advance. And so, yeah, I'm like, that's exciting. I'd happy to do that. And then on the day of, I'd look at my calendar and say, ooh, that's coming up. And I would secretly hope, I would check my email. I remember I'd be checking my email, hoping that that person would cancel on me to say, oh, I'm busy, or I got sick, or it's not going to work out anymore, and let's reschedule. And I remember I'd check in the morning, and I'd check 2 hours before, and check an hour before, and check half an hour before, and check 10 minutes before. And like, if there was no email, then I would go ahead and do it. So I'm losing insane amounts of productivity, right? Like how many times am I checking my email before this thing happens? Losing insane productivity, and also not actually serving, right? Not actually living my mission, my message, not actually being proud of myself for what I'm doing. And it almost always worked out. Like I never had an interview or a meeting or something where I just massively underperformed and actually sucked, right? That never really happened, but I was always afraid of it happening. And so I had to teach myself, this is what I want to do. Like the only thing worse than me not doing this is is me doing this and canceling, right? Or me never doing an interview and me never doing a meeting. And just recognizing that it was just fear talking. And again, the fear is of me disappointing people and failing in front of somebody else. I'm sitting here filming in the car. Nina just came back. We love you, Nina. Nina's doing some grocery shopping, and I'm filming here, in the car. We got the dogs here in the back seat. Timo's chilling. And this used to make me afraid. That, look, there's a guy who just pulled up next to me. He's not watching. But in my head, you'd be like, this guy's watching. I'd be afraid of filming in a parking lot, be afraid of filming walking down the street. I'd be afraid of filming with my sister in the room. I used to be afraid of all of that. So what is that? It's just fear of other people's opinions. Why am I afraid of this guy? Why am I afraid of that guy? I don't know that guy, right? Why am I afraid of him and his opinion? First off, he doesn't even care, right? He's not even looking at me. He doesn't even care. Maybe he never even noticed that I was filming, period. Right? So we think people care. They don't care. On the off chance that he actually cares, maybe he is judging me and thinks I'm crazy holding this camera up with the tripod in my hand. Maybe he thinks I'm crazy. Great. If somebody's leading with that, then they hate their own life. Like if somebody's leading with just negative judgment, he's got his own issues to deal with that have nothing to do with me. Or maybe he's inspired. Maybe this guy goes, look, he pulled out his phone. Maybe he's making his own YouTube video. Maybe he's inspired. Maybe that guy is now going to be the next YouTube sensation. Let's go. So we assume that everybody's going to watch us. Everybody's only looking at us, and we're going to disappoint and be a giant failure, and everybody's going to laugh and ridicule us, right? Like that's the thought that's in our head. Where the reality is, most people don't care. Most people, right? Like 90% of people don't even care. 5% of the people might judge you, and they're in a really negative spot themselves. And the other 5%, maybe they're inspired by you, and they see that and they go and do something with their life. But you playing small and listen to that fear instead of actually taking some kind of action will always lead to a negative spot. Like you know that you could do more, you want to do more, you want to serve on a bigger scale, but listening to that fear instead is keeping you stuck. This is one of the biggest problems for entrepreneurs, is that you have all these great ideas that are flowing through you, right? You've got an endless list of ideas. How big is your list of things that you could do that you get excited by when you look at them? And then how many are you actually doing? Well, not very many. You're missing the momentum, because at the end of the day, you could write down a list of all these reasons why it can't work out and when the timing is going to be just right and perfect, right? I'll start this on January 1st, or start this next month or next week or Monday or on my birthday or some artificial day. You come up with some reason of when you should be starting this thing, right? But if you actually examined it, if you actually took a little step back and looked at your goals that you haven't hit, that you haven't started, that just remain an idea and you've never taken momentum on, if you actually took 5 minutes to step back from it, create a little distance and look at them and look at your list of reasons why you haven't started, really, it's just fear. And when you can catch that, that's when you make a life-changing decision. Because as long as you are not chasing down the things that you want to do because you're afraid of somebody else's judgment of you, as long as that is the thing that rules you, you will never win. You will never accomplish anything great, and you'll live life with regret. So even now, my biggest fear is still disappointing people. And the ongoing challenge is to catch it. And when you can catch it, and when you can no BS catch it, to say, I'm just throwing up a bunch of excuses, but really I'm just afraid. When you can catch it, then summon the courage to go do the difficult thing. Summon the courage to say, I'm gonna take this fear head on. Because as long as that fear runs your life, you stay stuck. And every time you catch the fear and you do it because of, not just feel the fear and do it anyway, feel the fear and do it because of, you start to teach yourself to be a little stronger, a little more courageous, and you move a little bit closer to becoming the person that you are capable of being.
Rule number 7, follow through.
Most people don't get what they want because you don't follow through enough. You just don't follow through. It's based out of insecurity. You start and stop. You're afraid of hurting people's feelings. You're afraid of what they're going to say about you. You're afraid they're going to judge you. And we're afraid of having that L on our personal resume, and so we stop and try to do something else where we're seeing more immediate results. But if it's your goal, if it's your dream, you have to follow through. One of my favorite stories is with Brendan Burchard, and I went to speak at his event in Phoenix, and I knew of him, but I didn't know him at the time. It was his business partner that had me come out to his event and hired me to speak there, and that's where I met Brendan for the first time. And he asked me, "Hey, what are you working on? What can I help? What's next for you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm working on my book." And he said, I'd love to help. I'd love to give you some feedback on your book." Like, I am definitely down for that. Let's connect. And he asked me what my phone number was, and at the time I didn't have a phone. I didn't use a phone number. And I said, "How about email?" And he said, "Ooh, I'm not really good on email, but if that's the only way, then let's do email." So we exchanged emails, and I didn't hear from him, so I followed up and I said, "Hey, Brendan, thank you. Great event. Love to talk about the book like you suggested," and didn't hear back, and followed up a couple weeks later and didn't hear back, and followed up a couple weeks later, and then he said, "Oh man, thank you. I'm super swamped right now, but let's either come out to my place and we'll do a jam session, or I've got this event coming up, maybe you can come be there." I said, "Yeah, I'm down for either. Which one do you want to do?" And didn't hear back, and then wrote a couple more messages and didn't hear back. And here's what's really important. In my head, every time I sent another email, I was questioning myself. I was judging myself, like, "Ooh, I don't want to bother him. Maybe I'm being too overwhelming. Maybe he doesn't actually want me to come out. Maybe I'm offending him. Maybe I'm not respecting him. Maybe I'm asking for too much." That's the thought in my head before every email. Where in reality, he's just a busy guy. He had a lot of stuff going on. He had a launch that was happening that I wasn't even aware of, that he was planning behind the scenes. And so he's not crazy stressed out, but he just has a lot on his plate that he's dealing with. And it's hard to tell ourselves that. It's easier to default to the insecurity of maybe you're bothering, maybe you're asking too much, maybe you're not worthy, maybe you should move on. The event that he talked about me coming to was coming up, and I still hadn't heard back whether he wanted me there or not, or and my book launch was coming up too. And I thought, I'm gonna send one more email. Just one more email, that's it. I'm gonna send one more email, and hopefully something happens. If not, then I'm done. And hopefully he doesn't think I'm a loser or whatever. And he wrote back in the email and like, "Hey, sorry man, again, I'm not super great on email. I've just been swamped planning all these things. Yeah, come on out to the event, speak at the event too." And that was his big event that was $30,000 to $50,000 a year mastermind to be a part of, that then I spoke on stage. That then at the event, after I spoke, I met with him and Dean Graziosi backstage for an hour over lunch and planned my entire book strategy. That then led to me getting invited to go to Brendan's house a couple days later and hang with him and Dean and Tom Bilyeu and Lewis Howes and Jay Shetty and Russell Brunson and all sorts of amazing humans who built giant businesses. All of that happened because I sent that one more email. Because I followed up and I followed up and I followed up and I followed up, and it wasn't that he hated me or that he thought I sucked or that I was being overwhelming or whatever. That I kept following up. It just had the persistence. There's a lot of opportunities that are in front of you right now that just are not happening because there's not enough follow-up, there's not enough persistence. And the reasons why you're not doing it are based in reality, right? I mean, I could be overwhelming. It's possible. It's possible that he thinks that I'm overwhelming, that I'm not giving enough value, that I'm being too selfish, that I'm bothering him. I mean, it's possible, but we default to just assuming that instead of actually finding out, and we miss out on a lot of upside. And so here's what I found that really helps. 1, you schedule it in. You schedule it in every X number of weeks, right? So every 2 weeks, I would send in another email. Every 2 weeks, 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 every 2 weeks. And I never felt like doing it, because every time I saw that in my task list, I didn't want to do it. Like, let's give it another few days. Let's give it another week. I never wanted to do it. But because it was in my calendar, I did it. You will never want to do it because you're afraid, right? Underneath it is really just fear. It's insecurity. You'll never want to do it. So you schedule it in every 2 weeks or every week or every month or whatever the thing is that makes sense for the timeline that you're on. You schedule it in so that you have to do it. So when it came up, I knew I had, even though I didn't want to, even though my heart was beating, I was like, I still went off and I did it. Second thing is, lead with the intention. Before you write the email, before you make the call, before you do the follow-up, like, what's the intention? Is your intention to screw this person over? Is your intention to just suck up their time? Is your intention to negotiate a bad deal for them? Hopefully not. If you're a subscriber to this channel, hopefully it's positivity and hope and belief and mutual, benefits. And so if you lead with that intention every time, it's really unlikely that they're going to come back in a really negative way. The truth of the matter is they're probably just really busy. Maybe they're doing something insane in their life. Maybe they have a health scare. Maybe they're in the hospital. Maybe their mom's in the hospital, right? Like, you never know what's going on behind the scenes. And if you lead with intention as opposed to a copy paste email or just some kind of spam, if you lead with, I love this person, I want to do something with them, I want to help, I want to learn. Like, if that's a positive intention going in, your call, your email, your follow-up will just be a lot better. It'll be a lot better, and people will feel it. I forget who it was. I want to say it was, no, I forget who it was. I'm thinking Princess Di, but I don't think it was her. I don't forget who it was, where she would say, before I send an email, I would always smile. I would think about the person and I would smile before I wrote an email or wrote a letter, and it would always change the vibe of the letter, right? Like, if you're thinking love, kindness, smiling before you make a video, before you do a DM, before you do an email, right? Like, if you're thinking that, chances are you'll make them smile. Like, if you're smiling before you do it, you're probably going to make them smile. And so just taking that little pause to reflect on what is my intention here, instead of defaulting to insecurity and the stress on your side, default into, let's lead with positivity. Let's smile. Let's lead with love. You'd be amazed at how many great things happen. So those two things. One, you put it in your calendar until you get a response. Like, if somebody says no, okay, at least you got a response. But again, it's likely to be a loving no, because you followed up so many times and you've always led with a positive intention and love and kindness. They might just say, I'm just, you know what, I can't do this right now, or I'm not interested, or hey, sorry I haven't gotten back to you, let's do this, right? A lot of times it's just the timing. A lot of times your timing is way off, and it's not your timing, it just doesn't fit into their life or their world right now. But in 2 weeks it might, or in 2 months it might, or in 2 years it might. And if you're following up every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, and you're leading with love and kindness and with a positive intent, amazing things will happen. You have a great mission inside you. You have a desire to serve and to help and to create great things for the people who you work with, right? Like, that is at the core of who you are. And that needs to be spread. And at the beginning, when people don't know who you are, it's a little harder to get attention and get on people's radar. But if you are consistently following through, even in the face of not getting any response, you just consistently, because it's on your calendar, you're consistently following through, and you're leading with the intention of love, kindness, positivity, great things will happen. I promise you, great things will happen.
Rule number 8, radically change your life.
To change your life, you have to be willing to change your actions. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. If you want to change your life, you want to be in a different spot, you have to be doing different things. Now, if you love your life, great, don't change anything. Or you love pieces of your life, don't change anything about those pieces. But if you are not happy with where you are at, you must be willing to do different things. Otherwise, you will stay stuck forever. I was doing an Instagram live yesterday with a young entrepreneur. He wants to be a speaker and he wants to share his message, and he's constantly facing self-doubt and fear and insecurity, and nobody's watching the stories, and he's not good enough, and who am I to share a message? And in our IG live, one of the things he said was, well, I'm not comfortable doing that. We're talking about making content, and some days he's on top of the world and he feels great, and other days he's not, and he doesn't feel comfortable getting in front of the camera. And he started going off and telling me a story. Like, stop right there. When you say, I'm not comfortable doing that, we have to identify that as a trigger to go. Saying, I'm not comfortable doing that. Now, if it's against your values, I get it, right? You're not comfortable. You know, I'm at Costco right now. Nina's going shopping in there. I'm not comfortable robbing Costco. Perfect, okay? That's outside my value system. That's totally different. Most of the things that you're not comfortable doing are failing in front of other people. At the end of the day, that's what it is. You're afraid of being judged. And so we're not comfortable doing that thing. You'll fail if nobody else sees it, if it's just you. But you don't want to fail in front of other people. And that can no longer be a good enough reason. Because if you only do, think about this, if you only do what's comfortable, you stay in your comfort zone. If you only do what's comfortable, you stay in your comfort zone. And therefore, you hate your life. Because if all you did was wake up and do what's in your comfort zone, do what is known, do what is comfortable, do what you've always done, you're going to hate your life. And this becomes the curse of a lot of entrepreneurs, is you know you're capable of more, you know you want to do more, you know you have more in your heart to go off and serve. You want that. You can see it, you can touch it, you can taste it, you can visualize. It's like, I want to be there. I want to do that, right? Has that happened to you? Can that relate to you? You know you want more, but you're afraid to go off and do it, and you fall back down to comfort. At least consistently. You might have these moments of greatness and boldness and willingness to go do something, but we fall back down to comfort. And if you stay in comfort, you will never accomplish your great goals, because everything you want out of life is on the other side of your comfort zone. Everything you want out of life. All your big goals, your big dreams, your big ambitions, your mission, the life that you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. And so I had to stop him when he was talking to me on the Instagram Live, because it doesn't matter if you're not comfortable doing it. It's actually the opposite. Because you are uncomfortable doing it, now you have to do it. Because you need to train yourself that you do uncomfortable things. The fact that you have accepted being uncomfortable as a good enough reason to stop is the big problem. I don't care what other story you're gonna tell me afterwards. I had to stop the conversation at that moment, because I could not allow him to continue with the mindset of, I'm uncomfortable, so I'm going to stop. And we all have these words that we tell ourselves, and we all have these stories that we come back to as to why we're not able to take action. And the problem is we believe those things, and you need to catch them, and you need to root them out. And so for him, that was the big aha moment, that he needs to get uncomfortable. And it doesn't sound like a big deal, right? Like, oh, of course you got to get uncomfortable. But what is the thing that you're telling yourself as to why you're not winning, as to why you can't follow through, as to why you can't do the thing? And when somebody else shines a light on it, it's like, it seems so obvious, and yet this is the thing that has been holding you back and keeping you stuck. So I told him, anytime you hear yourself say, this makes me uncomfortable, again, as long as it's not against your value system, right? This makes me feel uncomfortable. Use it as a trigger to go forward. Enlist your family. He's newly married. Enlist your wife. Enlist your parents. Enlist your siblings. Anytime somebody hears you say, that makes me feel uncomfortable, that's a trigger. Go. Have them hold you accountable. Said, you just said it again. Now you got to go do that thing. As long as it's not against your value system, right? For me, it's scary, difficult, and hard. I would accept scary, difficult, or hard as good enough reasons for me not to go off and do the thing that I wanted to do. I want to make videos. Oh, that's scary. Like, oh, okay, I can't do it. I've just accepted scary as a good enough reason. And so if I never do things that are scary, I will never accomplish my big goals. When when I was thinking about doing my tour in 2019, when we hit 23 cities, 90 days, I thought that was too difficult. Like I was afraid to get on stage, and here I am now facing my fear every 4 days in a new city. I've never done a tour, and instead of just doing a small tour of 3 cities or something, like 23 cities, 90 days, a quarter of the year on the road straight with my wife and my cameraman. Okay, let's go. Because I do difficult things. Because I want to train myself that I do difficult things. Because again, my dream life is on the other side of me doing difficult things. If I only do what's easy, I'm going to eventually hate my life. This is where we get stuck. When you do something that's easy and you win a little ribbon or an award, right? You run a race against 3-year-olds and you win. Congratulations, amazing, you won. And you could post about it on Instagram and you had this little moment of accolade, but you don't actually feel good about yourself because you didn't do anything difficult, because that was easy for you. The self-love, self-confidence, self-respect comes from doing difficult things, uncomfortable things, scary things, hard things, the willingness to show up even if you don't win. Because it's difficult and challenging, that's how you ultimately will win in life and start to accomplish your goals. And so most people are photocopying their lives. This is where most people are stuck. You're photocopying your life. Today look the same as yesterday, look the day as the day before, same as the day before. It's why most people do not like their life. It's why most people drive to a job that they hate. They're driving to a job that they hate. Most people wake up, look at all these cars here. Most people here in this parking lot, they're waking up every day and driving to a job that they hate. They do not like their life. Most of the people who are telling you what you should do with your life do not like their own life. And so the answer is to catch your trigger words. So I call them play bigger triggers. What's a play bigger trigger? What are your trigger words? What do you say? Think about one of your goals. Think about what's on your list of to-dos. Think about where you want to be. What do you have to get done? What's one of your most important goals right now that you've been procrastinating on? What have you been delaying on? There's something. Everybody's got something. What's a goal of yours that you've been sitting on? And then what's the voice in your head that's giving you an acceptable reason for you not to do the thing? Now try to get to the reason behind the reason. So example, somebody wants to make YouTube videos. I want to be a thought leader. I have a message in my heart. I want to get it out to the world. Awesome. What's the reason why you're telling yourself you can't do it? Like, oh, well, I don't have the time. I don't have the camera. I don't have the gear. I don't have the microphone. I don't know what to say. All of these are the practical reasons, right? Those are not the real reasons. The real reason is buried underneath the practical reasons. Why do you think that having the right camera and microphone is going to be the difference? Well, because you're actually afraid of judgment. You're afraid that people are going to watch it. We're afraid of when people won't watch it. And what does that mean? That you suck. And that people will watch it and laugh at you or criticize you for having a bad phone, bad camera, bad microphone, or they can't hear you or whatever else. Like, you're afraid of judgment. Underneath the reason of I don't have a good enough camera, microphone, etc., is just fear. And the fear specifically is judgment. So think about your own goals. What do you want to do? What have you been delaying on? What have you been procrastinating on? What's the reason you're telling yourself? The logical one, the one that you're buying. And then what's the reason underneath the reason? What's the actual reason? And that's your trigger. So if it's fear of judgment, if it's fear of failure, if it's fear of not being good enough, if it's fear of being an imposter, if it's fear of being uncomfortable, whatever your actual fear is, that's your trigger. And that is holding you back, not just in this one goal, but in life, in everything, in all your goals. It's the reason why you're not taking action across all your goals. And so now when you can catch it and then take the action to say, I am the person who does difficult things. I am the person who gets uncomfortable. I am the person who is going to change my actions because that's the only way I'm going to get the life that I want. When you can catch it specifically, it shortcuts the brain. Because at least for me, and I've seen it work for many other people, when you've accepted comfort, for example, as a reason why you can't take action, and then you hear yourself say, well, that makes me uncomfortable. Now you have to do it. You just have to do it. You take the brain out of the equation. Now the reasons don't matter. You said uncomfortable, so now I have to go and do it, period.
Rule number 9, figure out what you stand for.
The biggest hack to stop caring about other people's opinions, to stop living other people's version of your life, and to start actually feeling happy and proud of yourself, the biggest hack to doing that is to figure out what you stand for, to figure out your single most important core value. I believe that everybody has a single most important core value. And when you figure that out, it gives you a lot more clarity, a lot more direction, a lot more confidence, and allows you to start to do things that you never thought were possible. All of a sudden, that idea that you've got of, oh my gosh, I could do this thing, but then never taking action on it, things start to happen for you because you have that clarity of value. So I wrote 2 books on this, Your One Word and Built to Serve, and we go through the process of figuring out your one word or your who. Who are you? What do you stand for? What is that single most important core value? One of my favorite activities that I go through, I call it the 5 essential questions, but the most important one there, I find usually, is asking people, who was your favorite teacher growing up and why? So if you've understood the concept of, hey, I need to have a core value, I need to know what I stand for, I'm tired of being on quicksand, I'm tired of living other people's version of my life, okay, great. How do I figure it out? Do I just pick one at random? Do I just read a book? Like, how do I actually figure out what I stand for? Well, asking yourself that question, who your favorite teacher growing up was and why, I think is critical. Think about it. You've had how many teachers in your life? Think about your school, elementary school, high school, university, if you went to a college, other teachers you've had lots of teachers growing up. And chances are, most of your teachers, if you walked past them on a street corner, you wouldn't recognize them. That's how little of an impact they've had on you. Think about your high school teachers. If they walked past you right now, you wouldn't know who they were because they had no impact. But there's always that one teacher that stood out. There's one teacher that stood out for you. Why? It wasn't because they taught you grade 8 math. It's because they made you feel different as a human. They gave you something more than just a subject matter they were teaching. And that gives you a clue. Why did you like that teacher? Gives you a clue as to who you are and what you want to spread into other people. So, quick example. My favorite teacher growing up was Madame Farr. Madame Farr was my grade 12 French teacher. And I didn't love her because she taught me French. I barely use French on a day-to-day basis. What she taught me was to believe in myself. I was a B and C student going into my last year of high school, and she would meet with me every week. Before school started, once a week, we'd sit down, we'd chat, we'd talk about life, we'd talk about school, we'd talk about where I was at, we'd talk about what was on my mind. And in those conversations, she made me feel like I could do more. That her belief in me created more belief in myself. And in that last year, I went from being a B and C student to straight 90s, straight A+. I was still the same guy. I still had the same ability and the same talent. You know, she wasn't passing me the answers to the test that I had. It was just that belief in me that she gave me that allowed me to go off and start to perform more. So I think that's the most important question you can ask. Another one you can look at is, what was your favorite movie growing up and why? What's your favorite movie of all time? Why? There's so many movies that you've watched. Most of them you don't remember, but there's one that sticks out, that really stands out for you in some way for some reason. My favorite movie is Seabiscuit. It's about this horse that is way too small. It's about this jockey that's way too big. It's about this owner that's bankrupt. And somehow they all find each other and start winning a whole bunch of races when they shouldn't be, you know? And it's based off of a true story, and it ended up lifting a nation. The people love this underdog story, and it's a story of belief. Same thing. It's a story of belief. We all, at least for me, I love the idea of being that Seabiscuit, or being the jockey, or being the owner, and helping not just each other believe in themselves, but also the nation, for the audience, for the fans, helping them believe in themselves. And so if you started asking those questions, if you started thinking about who are the people that make you come alive, that make you feel like you're a better person, or what are the resources, or what are the YouTube channels, or Instagram accounts, or books, or podcasts, or shows, what are the things that have made you come alive? What are the things that have made you feel like you could do more? And then next to each one, write down a couple of words. So your favorite teacher growing up, who was it? And then why? 3 words to explain why. Your favorite movie of all time, and then 3 words, why? And what you'll find is, as you do this exercise, you'll see some similar patterns. You'll see some words pop off the page. You'll see that same word come up a couple times. That's your who. That's your single most important core value. That's what you still need more of in your life right now. And that's what you want to give to the world. The other great part about it is that will be with you for life. This isn't something that we want to change. This is who you are. This is your best version of you. At my core, I'm the best when I believe in myself. And my biggest problem is still, I need to believe in myself more to get to the next level. When you figure out your most important core value, your who, your one word, it's still what you need right now. My biggest challenge right now is that I don't believe in myself to hit the next level. And it's what you want to give to the people around you. If you're watching this, you're probably an entrepreneur. You want to give to the world. You want to have a big mission. You have a big message. But some people, like Nina, who was just here, she doesn't have a big message, but she wants to help the closest people to her. We all want to feel like what we do matters. We all want to feel like we're having an impact on people, whether the closest people to us or to the world. But we're stuck and we're lost and we need guidance. And if you feel like you have all these ideas, but you don't know how they all make sense, and you don't know that you feel like it could be something, but you don't know how to get there, there's not enough momentum happening, it's because you're not in touch with your single most important core value. Here's an example. If I'm struggling to do something, I'm struggling to get on stage to speak, I'm struggling to turn on the camera to make a video for you, I'm struggling to launch my next project, I get an idea and then I say, I can't do that. What do I need? At the end of the day, what do I really need? Like, what's the thing that's going to turn that idea into actual action? I need more belief. And so when I can catch myself procrastinating, finding excuses, saying no when I shouldn't be, I can quickly reverse it by saying, Evan, you need to believe more in yourself, because that's at the core of who I am. And when I can catch it, then it gives me the courage to go off and do it, to record the video, to get on stage, to launch that project, to say yes, to say yes, to say yes. I think of Alex, who helps me run Toronto Dance Salsa. His who is belong. He needs to belong more with himself, and he needs to spread more belong to the world. And whenever he's not happy, and whenever he's not following through, and whenever he's not hitting his goals and doing the work, it's because he doesn't feel like he belongs. Doesn't feel like he belongs to himself, and he doesn't feel like he's spreading belong to the world. If you are stuck, if you are going too slow, if you have all of this unrealized potential inside you, the thing that is missing is you not following through on who you say you want to be. You're not matching that potential. How you make it practical is to figure out your who. Because every time you come back to that and say, I just need more of X, I need more hope, I need more freedom, I need more belief, I need more belong, I need more love, I need more care for myself, and then to spread it to the world. And when you can feel that, when you can actually feel that, it'll dramatically change how you show up. All of a sudden now you're making progress where you weren't before. You're accomplishing more in a day than you were in a year. You've released the chains. You've given yourself wings. You've given yourself the permission to actually go off and do the scary thing that's inside you, because now you know who you are. Figure out your one word. Figure out your who. Watch your life change.
Rule number 10, the last one before our very special bonus clip, focus on who you serve.
Focus on who you are serving instead of who you're not. That one sentence is at the core of how I've been able to stay so consistent, to keep making content, to not give up, to not get too discouraged, and to get back up every single time and keep going, because I focus on who I am serving instead of who I'm not. I just recently spoke at Brendan Burchard's Influencer Summit, and I shared my graphic of how I've grown over the years on my channel. Every time I show that graph, they always ask me, how did you keep going? In the first 5 years, when you had no subscribers, when you had no comments, how did you keep going? And how did you make so many videos? How did you not burn out? How have you made 12,000 videos over 12 years? How do you keep doing it? And I don't think I'm superhuman. I don't think I'm extra special. I think I had actually more problems than most. I'm shy, I'm introverted. I was afraid of the camera. I felt like only egotistical people put themselves on camera and told their story. I had lots of limiting beliefs and struggles in getting my channel and just belief in myself to put anything out there. I hated my first 350 videos. I couldn't watch anything back. Totally embarrassed by everything I made. And it was 750 videos before I inspired myself, before I finally liked one of my own videos. Like, you know what? I'm starting to get decent at this. That was a good video. 750 videos in before I did that. So how do you keep going? How does that make any sense? Because I always focus on who I was serving instead of who I wasn't. Most of us just focus on who we're not serving. Think about your growth. Think about if you've made any kind of content. You know, at the beginning, you get nothing, right? There's no reaction, there's no comments, and then maybe you get one comment, and then maybe you get 5 comments, or maybe you get 10 likes, or maybe you get however many views on your videos, right? You get 100 views on your video. Now that's kind of the standard. Now if you get 20 views again on a video, ooh, that doesn't feel so good, right? Or if you get 1,000 views on a video, or 10,000 views on a video, or 100,000 views on a video. I remember the first time I got 100,000 views on a video, it's like, wow, I've made it. And then it's easy to feel like, oh, the next video got 10% of that, and you feel like, oh, I suck, it's not working, right? Instead of focusing on that, because that's a losing game, focus on who you are helping and assume that it is serving people. I've always felt, I think, some kind of responsibility or just gratitude that anybody would care about what I had to say and that you were spending your time with me. I remember my first speaking gig was at the YMCA in Canada, was at the YMCA, and 3 people showed up. You know, 3 people showed up, and I just did my best to give a great experience to those 3 people. And then I kept doing it. And the next time we had 4, and then we had 7, then we had 12, and then we had 15, and then we had 20, and then we outgrew the space. And so then I went to the boardroom of a bank, Royal Bank of Canada, and took over their boardroom at night for entrepreneurs. These were free events I was putting on just to help entrepreneurs. I had no business model or pitch, just serving. And then we got too big for the Royal Bank. So then we went to Indigo, which was a bookstore. It's like a Barnes and Nobles of Canada. We had, you know, people coming out, and then more and more and more. Every 2 weeks I did it again, and more people came. And at the height, we had the second most number of people to ever show up at the bookstore. Number 1 was Sting when he launched, the musician Sting, when he launched his book. He came and he did a little concert, and that was the number 1 event in terms of number of people that came out. And the second one was my little entrepreneur speeches. It's crazy. When you focus on who you are serving instead of who you're not, it does a couple of things, okay? Number 1, it makes you feel so much better about what you're doing. It makes you feel so much better that what you're doing matters, right? We all want to feel like what we do matters. And if you're used to 1,000 views on a video and then you get 100 views on the next one, you feel like you don't matter, right? You feel like you're losing your value because it didn't reach as many people. Don't think like that. 100 people saw it. Be thankful and be grateful for the 100 people. It doesn't mean that you stop caring about growth and improvement. right? Somebody asked me about satisfaction and happiness, and they said, I'm always happy, but I'm almost never satisfied. I always want to be getting better, to grow, to improve, and it's more a personal thing of I want to put my best effort out there. Today, this video, I want it to be one of my best videos ever, and maybe I accomplish that, maybe I don't, but it's the intent, because I'm never satisfied with where I'm at, but I'm happy. I'm happy as a human, because by putting out great work and by paying attention to who you are serving, I think that's the key to being happy, to being fulfilled, to feeling like what you do matters. So it gives you that. By focusing on who you are serving, it gives you that. And number two, when you focus on the people who you are serving, here's a secret. They take you to the people who you're not serving yet, right? If you love this video, you might share it with somebody. You might come back and watch another video, and maybe you share that video with somebody. When you focus on loving on your community, it's that double whammy in a positive way of you feel so good that what you do is having a meaningful effect. And when you love on your customers, when you love on your audience, they're going to take you to more people because they're going to feel the love and they're going to spread it for you. You don't have to tell them to do it. They'll do it on their own because they get good vibes by being around you, even if it's just virtually. I think it's really critical. People are really struggling with mental health in creation right now, in entrepreneurship right now. It's a giant struggle. And I see a lot of my contemporaries, a lot of people on YouTube giving up after a couple months, saying, I need a mental health break, I'm burnt out. And I've made 12,000 videos over 12 years and we're still going. And it's not, again, that I'm superhuman. It's just a shift. I'm focusing on who I am serving and who I am helping, not all the things that I suck at and how I'm not growing fast enough, because that game never ends, right? It's a never-ending climb. So some years I do better than others, and some months I do better than others. And do I want to have bigger numbers? Of course. But it's not the reason why I do what I do. One other little trick that helps a lot is assume that for somebody, at least one person, what you're going to create today is going to be life-changing. Assume that for somebody, at least one person, what you will create today will be life-changing. That if you're making content and 100 people see your video, and you might think that's a failure because you're used to 1,000 views on your video, that for one of those 100 people, it's a life-changing video. My hope, my intention is that this video today is a life-changing video for somebody. For some of you watching, for most of you watching, maybe it's just another good video. Like, hey, thank you, good shot of an espresso in the morning. Here we go, thank you, awesome. Or you're having breakfast, or you're doing something else. You're driving in your car on your way to work, and you're listening to me. Awesome, amazing. But I hope that for one person, it's a life-changing video. It's finally going to give you the permission to go off and do the thing that you desperately want to do, that you know is in your heart and has to come out. I just feel that. And I've seen it enough over the years of people telling me that my videos have had an impact on them only years later. Yesterday at Brendan Burchard's influencer event that I spoke at, people were commenting and then DMing me on Instagram and sharing stories of, I've been following you since whatever year, and this is the first time they're ever telling me. Right? They never left a comment on a video. They never messaged me. They never emailed me. They never tweeted. They never sent anything. It's the first time I've ever seen their name ever. And they've been a hardcore follower for a decade. And I've had a huge impact and I'm part of their daily life. And it's only now, a decade later, that I'm finding out about it. Right? There are people who are like that for you too. And we just assume that we don't matter. And we assume because you might get a few less views on a video or post that it's not having an impact and not having a reach, and then you take that personally and feel like you suck. Assume that it's making an impact on somebody. Assume that it's life-changing for somebody, that you are giving hope, encouragement, motivation, permission for somebody else to go and become their best selves. When you tie your self-worth to the results that you're getting, you ultimately are going to lose, because have some days where you don't get results, and it's going to defeat you. It's going to lead to stress. It's going to lead to anxiety. It's going to lead to wanting to quit. It's going to lead to burnout. The key to fulfillment, the key to momentum, the key to sustained activity, and the key to actually loving the work that you're doing is reminding yourself to focus on the people that you are serving instead of the ones that you aren't.
People aren't lazy. They just don't have dreams that inspire them. They default to thinking, I'm a lazy person. I don't have ambitions. I don't know what I want to do in life. I'm just a loser. No, you just don't have a dream that makes you want to go off and do something. And until you figure that out, you're going to be in this constant cycle of feeling like a loser. It's one of the most common questions that I get asked on my IG streams. I go live every single day on Instagram, at least right now while I'm on my tour. And every single day I get asked some variation of, Evan, I'm lazy. How do I get out of it? Evan, I'm procrastinating. How do I get out of it? One, you don't call yourself a lazy person. There's no such thing as a lazy person. If you are procrastinating or you're being lazy, right? You are being lazy doesn't mean that you are a lazy person. There's two reasons why you're doing it. There's two reasons why you are being lazy. One, you don't have a dream that's big enough. You don't have something that inspires you. You don't want to get out of bed in the morning. If I was an accountant, I would be a really lazy accountant. I would hate my life. Not to knock accountants, it's just not for me. If I was a video editor, I would be lazy. I would hate my life. I don't want to be a video editor. I don't want to be an accountant. Actually, there's most things in the world that I don't want to be. And if you forced me to do that, I would be lazy. That's 95% of America. I think 95% of America wakes up and drives to a job that they hate. And then they're lazy there. But they have dreams, they have ambitions. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. You just have to find it. And so if you don't know what that thing is, then it's your duty to go off and explore. You test, you try, you see. You say yes to a lot of stuff. Like, this is the most important thing that you need to figure out in your life if you don't know what your dream is. You have to go off and try things. Just like you won't get married until you go on dates. You won't get married to an idea until you go on dates, until you try it, until you say yes. And the acid test is, did I like it? Do I want to go back? Does this fill me up? Did I enjoy the process of it? Can I see myself doing this and having fun? Because when you're having fun doing the work, that's when it will fill you up. That's when you won't be lazy. And there has been times in all your lives where you felt that, where you felt the joy, the energy, the ambition, the drive. And so you need to capture that and say yes and find what it is that your big dream is.
You don't have to be an extrovert to sell. You also don't have to be a slime ball to sell either. All you need to sell is a vision that you believe in and a passion to make it come true. And if you don't learn to effectively sell, that genius idea that you have in here that can serve the world will never come to fruition, and you'll never get the impact that you're after. So I'm here in LA, and over the past 2 days, I've been on the podcast for Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street, and Jay Abraham, who's the legendary marketing guru for Tony Robbins and Damon John and a whole bunch of other people. And I'm on their podcast, and I'm telling them that they need to be on YouTube, that they need to get their message out. I want to see them more heavily invested. I want to see their message reach the world. And 5 years ago, Evan of 5 years ago would have been too afraid, too humbled, too worried that I might not be perfect, that I wouldn't be able to persuade them to do the thing, and so I wouldn't have tried. And I still have a bit of that in me. When Jordan Belfort asked me, how good are you? Like, how good at YouTube are you? And the answer that I gave was, within the thought leadership world, if you want to help entrepreneurs, I'm top 3-5 in the world. Even as I say it, it feels weird saying it, because the Canadian or Carmichael kind of humbleness is pumping in, but it's also true. Because when you're talking to somebody who is not super familiar with what you're doing, they're trying to get an understanding. When I'm talking to Jordan Belfort and trying to give him an understanding of what I do and why my message is so important for him, I'm trying to serve him. I'm trying to help him. I want him to win. So the credibility is important. It backs it up, and me not strongly believing in myself means that he won't believe in me either. And one of my favorite messages from Jordan, and I told him this at the beginning of the podcast interview, was sales is about a transfer of certainty. Of all the things I've learned from Jordan Belfort, that is the number one thing that still rings true in my head. Sales, if you want to sell people, you want to persuade them on something. And it's, again, not for nefarious reasons, not to screw somebody over, not just to get their money. You want to persuade them. I'm here trying to persuade Jordan, trying to persuade Jay, trying to persuade lots of other people to take their message and put it up on YouTube to spread it to the world. It's for them, right? I got frustrated with Jordan halfway through the interview, and he said, why are you frustrated? Because he's making it a joke and having fun, and he loves having fun on the show, and
and it's a more entertaining show. He's way more funny and entertaining than I am. I told him, you're doing this for the audience because people will watch the show. I'm doing this for you. Like, we're here at a limited time and I want you to win. I want to get this out of my head into yours so you can go take action on it, right? So the ability to sell and persuade is based off your ability to transfer certainty. And so when you fully believe in the thing, when you fully believe in the thing, like this is right, this is the thing that has to happen in service for your customer, in service for your audience, you have to do this, not for me, but because it's the best thing for you. When you fully believe it, then you have to go all in on it. Saying I never have the time is the single greatest excuse that is preventing you from accomplishing your goals. You are not allowed to say it anymore. Stop it. Stop believing your own lies. Whatever story you're telling yourself as to why you can't do it, how much time you don't have, somebody else who made it had it way worse than you did. They made it and had it way worse than you did. If they can make it, you can too. The only difference is the story you're telling yourself that you don't have enough time to do it. So I'm gonna give you a more fun example on this one. I wanna get to being a better League of Legends player, okay? I would play League of Legends, I don't know, once or twice a week, depending on what was happening in my calendar. I started sponsoring a League of Legends player, my first esports venture, this guy named Kyle Menko, and he plays Teemo. Teemo's a character in the game. I play Teemo. He's the best Teemo in the world. In any region around the world, he is the #1 guy. And I said, Kyle Menko, I want to sponsor you, and part of the deal is you're going to coach me. I want you to coach me on how to get better. I want to get better. I want to climb. I was in bronze, which is the second worst division in League of Legends. He said, what was the best you've ever done? I said, silver, which is the third worst division in League of Legends. And so he said, okay, I can help you. How often are you practicing? I said, I don't know, once or twice a week. It's like, okay, that's not enough. I need you to play 3 games a day. 3 games a day. And a game takes 35 to 40 minutes, sometimes longer, depending on how long it takes to get into the game. Could be 45 minutes, maybe even up to an hour. And I'm thinking in my head, 3 games a day? Are you nuts? I don't have time to do this. I can't make that happen. I got all these other responsibilities. Right? If it's important, you got to stop telling yourself that you can't do it. How do I justify playing 3 games a day when I have all these other stuff I need to do? I need to run a business. I want to scale. I want to grow my YouTube channel. I want to grow my impact. I need to write my book. I need to launch my YouTube course. I need to spend time with my wife and my family. I got lots of other things I need to do. I need to sleep, all of it. How do I justify spending 3 games a day to improve my Teemo? I don't have the time. Your actions map to your ambitions. I look at my calendar, I made a way. I'm gonna do it. I wanna get better. I wanna improve. Now, I don't do it when I'm traveling, so I'm here in LA right now, so I haven't played my 3 games since I've been away. But when I'm in Toronto, pretty much every day that I'm in Toronto, I'll get my 3 games in. And I've gotten better. The results speak. I went from bronze to silver, and now I'm climbing up through silver, and I'm hopefully, the goal is to get the gold by the end of the year. So now it's the fourth worst division. And you're starting to get, once you get in the gold and you get a little bit higher, now you're starting to get some kind of, not reputation, but significance, and just like you're actually a semi-decent player, right? So I'm chasing down my League of Legends goals. Because your personal goals, you may be watching and thinking, well, why are you wasting your time doing it? It's a personal goal to me. It might be a waste of time to you. Maybe building a deck for your backyard is a big waste of time for me. Maybe making your own clothes or whatever other hobby you have, cooking or crafting, is a big waste of time for me, right? So don't judge somebody else's personal goals. This is a personal goal of mine. I want to chase it down, and I want to not tell myself that I don't have the time, right? As soon as you hear yourself say, I don't have the time, you're not taking control of your calendar. You're not taking control of your life. Of course you have the time. You choose not to prioritize it. That's the change in language you need to make. You're not allowed to say, I don't have the time. Instead, I choose not to prioritize it. Because now you're in charge. Now you have nobody to blame. Because when it's somebody else's fault, when you don't have the time, that's not your fault. That's somebody else's fault. That's everybody else who has demands on your time, right? You can't do anything about it. So let's just stay here and never accomplish your goals. You choose not to prioritize it. Once you take accountability, once you take responsibility to say, I'm going to take control of what I want to do in my life, that's when everything starts to change.
You have Michael Jordan level talent at something, but instead of being world class at that thing, you settled for being just above average at something that you should not be doing. Albert Einstein once said, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will believe its whole life that it is stupid. That's most people's problems. You are a fish, and you're trying to climb a tree instead of going and being great at swimming. This is the exact problem that I am on a mission to solve. So I recently had a young entrepreneur come to one of my Toronto Q&A meetups that are free that I host every week. And he said, Evan, I have a problem. I'm trying to decide between what my parents want me to be, which is an architect, and what I feel a yearning towards, which is being a musician. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to decide. I don't know how I'm going to be a success as a musician. I don't know how it's going to work out. And my parents want me to be an architect, and there's this clearly defined path for how to do it. And he's afraid. And I think that's so many people. There's this safe, perfect path that has been designed that people have done forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Or there's this new, crazy, messy, unrealistic, unsafe, unsure path, which is following your passion, being an entrepreneur, and trying to figure out where you're supposed to go. Here's the thing. If you only go down that safe path, if you only take that job, if you only listen to your parents or other people and you do what they want you to do, you're always going to be unhappy. You're always going to know that there was this thing inside you that you could have done, that you didn't take action on, and you hate it. It's never been easier to actually be yourself and build a business and have success being uniquely you, right? This was not open to your parents and definitely not your grandparents. The ability to be an entrepreneur on the side, making money using your phone is something that your grandparents don't understand. It's totally wild. And so you are a unique individual, right? You are, I am, we all are. You have unique interests, personality traits, belief systems. You're unique. You need to do something unique. If you are unique, you need to do something unique. If you're stuck doing the same thing that somebody else wants you to do, you're never going to be happy. Now, there may be some alignment. You may not absolutely hate the job that you're at, but you know you're capable of more. You're Michael Jordan. You are the Michael Jordan of something. You're a genius, an absolute bona fide genius at something. This is why I think it's the world's greatest problem. This is why I do what I do every single day in making this content and videos for you, because I want to unlock people, hopefully more than one at a time, but even if it's just one person who watches this video and gets unlocked, I'm pumped. Because I think if everybody is off doing the thing that they are a genius at, man, I want to live in that world.
Hope without action leads to pain and suffering. Watching videos like this is not enough. It might give you hope, but hope that is not tied to action and you doing something will mean you never accomplish your goals. The answer is always action. It's hope and then action. And when that doesn't work out, more action. And when that doesn't work out, more action. So a couple years ago, I was in New York and I was meeting with my agents, and one of them said, what am I trying to do? What's my vision? What's my mission? What am I trying to accomplish? And I said, I wanted to spread belief. I wanted to spread hope. And he jumped all over me about the hope. Like, you want to spread hope? Hope's not enough. You can't just do hope. And I remember walking away, he's like, what's he talking about? Hope is so important. If you don't have hope, how are you going to believe in yourself to go chase something down? Without hope, you got nothing, right? Without hope and belief, you got nothing. Where I realized the difference in the thinking is the usage of the word is people hope things will happen. It's not having hope in something. It's hoping that it's going to happen, and then they sit on their bed, sit on their couch, sit at home and do nothing. That kind of hope, that's not a strategy. Hope and belief is your first step. It's your first entry point in. You have hope that things will happen. But then you got to get up and do something, right? And so figuring out that message when I was talking to my agent didn't come to you right away in the moment, because at the same time, as much as I'm filled with hope and belief in humanity and what we can all do, I'm working, right? I'm taking action. I'm making 3 to 4 videos every day. We haven't had a day in the past 5 years where a video hasn't gone up. Every single day. I don't know what that consecutive streak is, but it's long, it's big. I'm working my face off every day in the achievement of my mission. But I also love hope and belief. It's why I have this channel, it's why I have my other channels, is I want to be around people who've done a lot more. I want to learn from the greats. I want to learn from people who know more than me. And when I see that, it gives me hope that it's possible. It gives me belief that it's possible, that if they can do it, I can do it too. But you still have to do it. the ability to do it versus actually executing and doing it are two very different things, right? The difference gap is going to be the action. And so, yes, I want you to have hope. I think it's important, but it's not the only thing. You got to make sure you turn that hope and not just rely on the strategy, but you're doing the daily work to chase down your dreams. You look at the people who've made big money, they've been chasing something that they love doing. Because otherwise you won't put in enough work. If you're just chasing an opportunity, you're probably not going to make it. If you don't love it enough, the people who love it will crush you. Like if salsa dancing was the hot trend for 2020, you can say, great, I'm going to make tons of money salsa dancing, being an instructor, and then I'll do that for 3 years and then retire and go travel the world and do what I love. You'll never make the money salsa dancing because Alex is going to destroy you.
Sorry.
Yeah, because he loves it, right? Because you'll be a wannabe and you'll never put in enough work to actually get great at the thing. Like if you're going to work with somebody who's going to be in your production, and they just want to make it as an actor because they think it's a path to make tons of money. Because Brad Pitt makes $40 million a movie or whatever it is, but they don't actually care about being a good actor. They're not even going to get into your show. Like you're going to spot that out and say, no, I need people who actually care about the craft.
Have a routine that challenges you to be a better human. This is why I make these videos. Honestly, this Espresso series is supposed to be a morning series that we release 5 days a week to help you start your day with a shot of espresso, with some love, with some encouragement, with people who are doing more than you. You may never meet me. You may never meet John Astroff. You may never meet Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey or Steve Jobs or the people that I profile on this channel. But you can learn. You can learn from them. I learn from them. I start my day being around them. And the more that you're around these people who are living the life that you want, that have the belief systems that you want, you will start to adopt those as your own as well, because the people around you probably aren't those people, right? How many of the people around you are the people that you look to and say, I want to be like that person. That person's got my life. That person has my ideal values. That person is living the life that I want to live. Probably not, right? And that's okay. You can inspire them to live a better life through your actions, but you need to get that push. And so the more you can create that environment around you to help you get it, the greater the chances of you actually going off and accomplishing.
The biggest risk is not taking a risk at all. I love it. So many people are so afraid to follow their dreams, to have this big idea that they have that they want to go off and accomplish. We have this big vision for ourselves, and we're so afraid of making the wrong decision that we do nothing. That you see this big goal and you have 3, 4, 5 potential paths and you have limited resources, limited time, limited money, limited abilities, and you want to say, I need to make the perfect decision. Because if I make the wrong one, it all falls apart. And as a result, we get paralyzed by fear and we do nothing. And that's the biggest risk of all. That's when you see somebody else making tons of money off your ideas. That's when you fast forward 10 years and you still haven't done anything. You're still in the exact same position that you are now. Meanwhile, lots of people have taken that idea that you had and are crushing it. And so the way to get over it is to recognize that as soon as you get an idea, you need to find some small way to test it. And that you don't have all the answers, and that's okay, and that you're going to figure it out along the way. Don't be naive like I was to think that you can create a business plan and it's going to be the perfect business plan. You're going to have all the answers figured out, and then you're just going to execute that business plan. Because as soon as you finish writing your business plan and you get out into the world and you start testing your assumptions, you'll find out that you made a lot of mistakes, that a lot of what you thought would happen didn't happen. You couldn't predict the future. You couldn't predict how customers would react. You can't come up with the perfect plan just sitting in your apartment, sitting on your couch, going to the library. You have to actually get out and start talking to customers, test your assumptions. That was my biggest problem in my first business. I spent 3 months working on the perfect business plan, and then when I got out to market, I realized a lot of what I thought was going to happen, a lot of what I thought what the reactions would be, is not what actually happened. And that set me behind. And so being attached to that perfect idea, understand that that doesn't exist. There is no perfect plan. There is no perfect idea. As soon as you get something in your head, as soon as you get an idea for something to do, then find some small way to get out and start testing it. Find some small way to get out and start seeing, are you getting yeses? Are you getting traction? Do you even enjoy this? A lot of times these big goals that we have for ourselves, when you get into it, you want to be a YouTuber, great. You start making videos, you're like, yeah, I don't really like that. Go figure that out as soon as possible. People wait years before they go out and try their first attempt at it, and then they realize, you know what, that wasn't for me. And so I strongly encourage you to, one, as soon as you get an idea for something you want to test out, something that you think might work, find some immediate way to test it on a small scale. Don't take a big risk. Don't go mortgage your house. Don't go take out a giant loan. I hate spending money until I'm making money. Find some small way to get started.
What's the most important part of my morning routine? It's remembering the intention. How do I want today to go? Not just having a list of to-dos, but actually writing down how you want to feel and that message to yourself to give you the extra push that you need to move it forward. Come up with your intentions. Whether you want to do my method and the night before, write down your calendar and how you want to feel, or if it's just the first thing in the morning, you're looking at your calendar. That's what I used to do before writing it down. I just pull up my phone, load my calendar, and just see what was on my list for today, because I'd often forget, what am I doing today? I don't know, I just woke up, I'm tired. I look at my calendar, and then with each one, I would just mentally go through, instead of writing it, how do I want to show up for this person? If I'm making YouTube videos, how do I want to show up on camera? How do I want to show up for my audience? How do I want to show up for you? I would just mentally think about that as I go through the day. And I basically wake up, go to the bathroom, pull up my phone and start going through my calendar. That's it. And how I want to feel, the intention going through each individual item on my calendar. What I love about this is I find that I'm a little more courageous at night compared to in the morning. I just had a day, hopefully it was a good day, hopefully I served, I helped. It's often after I answer some questions on Instagram, so I'm in the service heart and mindset. And I think about, how do I want to show up tomorrow? If you find that you have more energy at night, or more clarity or more boldness at night, then do that. Think about, how do you want to show up tomorrow? What are your tasks? Write them down. And with each one, just write down what the intention is. How do you want to show up as a human for each one? So not just a list of to-dos, but how you want to feel going into each one. Look, even as an example, every day at 2:30, I spend time with Nina, okay? Every day at 2:30, take a break from whatever I'm doing, spend time with Nina. We usually go outside for a walk with the dogs. If it's raining, we'll stay inside and do something together. Just a quick break in the middle of the day to spend time together. And that's in my calendar. And on my calendar, it says 2:30, half an hour break with Nina. But I wrote down, what's my intention, right? So not just time with Nina, I wrote down, have fun and make her feel loved. And I wrote something else down yesterday, but that's my intention for today. Have fun and make her feel loved. So last night I wrote that down. I'm looking at Nina. She's lying in bed. She's about to fall asleep. And I want to think, how do I want to show up for her tomorrow for our break? Have fun and make her feel loved. So I look at that again this morning. And I look at it again right now. And then here's what's going to happen at 2:30. 2:30, I'm going to be done filming my videos. I'm going to look at my calendar, look at my sheet here. Let's say 2:30, time with Nina. Have fun, make her feel loved. Just that reminder will make me show up differently. If your goal is to have fun, if your goal is to make somebody feel loved, you're going to show up slightly differently. I'm going to show up with more love, with more energy, maybe pulling some kind of joke, maybe picking her up and turning her in a circle, something. I'm going to show up slightly different because I reminded myself that it's not just a break. The intention is to have fun and make her feel loved. And so if you do that for all of the items on your calendar, for every meeting that you've got, for every quiet time that you've got, for every creative moment that you've got, how do you want to show up? If you can write it down, I love the night before, and then under each one, how do you want to show up? That prime, when you look at it, just before you go into the task, will help you show up as you'd like, as your most bold, courageous, proud self.
Figure out what your trigger words are. What are your trigger words? What are the things that you say to yourself that keep you small, that keep you scared, that keep you safe, that keep you from living your dreams? What are the trigger words that you use? So for me, it's scary, difficult, and hard. Whenever I say scary, difficult, and hard, those are the things that have become my trigger words, and now I have to go do the things because I said them, because I wrote them, I texted them, I said them, I thought them, right? When you figure out what your trigger words are, then whenever you say them, it's an indication of, here I am again playing small. Here I am again telling myself that I can't do it. Here I am again accepting these reasons that I no longer want to accept. Being afraid is a classic one for a lot of people. Well, I didn't do it because I was afraid. And we've accepted You've accepted the fact that you're afraid as being a good enough reason for you not to do the thing that you want to do. And I would like to challenge that and say that's no longer a good enough reason. Nope, not anymore. Not for you, not for what you're capable of, not for where you want to go, and not for the impact that you can have. Nope, not a good enough reason anymore. Let's go. So if you just sit and think about what are the trigger words that you say, what's the language that you use that keeps you small, scared, protected, that you no longer want to be good enough reasons, that you want to be free of, rid of, and that we're taking from our subconscious mind automatic patterns into our conscious, into no, I am going to make a change in my life. I no longer want to be this person. I need to evolve and grow and get better and be better because I'm capable, right? You. So when you figure out your trigger words and try to come up with them, but it's a good exercise to do right now. What are the words that you tell yourself when you're scared, when you're afraid, when you've got big ideas, and you talk yourself down from it? What's the language you use? You can start by just taking on mine, scary, difficult, hard, or you can come up with your own. But the idea becomes anytime you see yourself using that language, it triggers you to then make a shift, to say, oh, okay, because I said that, because I said scary, difficult, or hard, now I'm going to do it just because I'm the kind of person who does scary, who does difficult, who loves hard. And when you can take those words that have previously disempowered you and flip them so that they become empowering for you, that's how you start to shift your identity forward. At the end of the day, the thing that matters is how you feel about yourself when you're by yourself. The language you use to talk about yourself, the messaging you have to yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you're going to sleep, when there's nobody else around you. Because when you can build that self-belief, when you can build that self-love, when you can build that self-confidence, that self-esteem, that becomes the rocket fuel for you to build the great life for you, your family, the people around you, and create the impact that you know you're capable of having. Start to change your environment. So the more you're around people who are loving, caring, ambitious, living the life that you want, doing the things that you want, having the relationships that you want, having the business that you want, are not sitting there stuck and complaining. That's complaining and blaming together. It's complaining. People aren't stuck in that mode. The more they pull you forward, the more it forces a more positive self-reflection. So if you're around Elon Musk and Oprah Winfrey and Marissa Peer and Tony Robbins and hopefully Evan Carmichael, the more you're around these people, the more you will start to think like them. The more the way they see the world will start to influence the way you start to see the world. And it forces that self-reflection, because the easiest way to change your viewpoint on something is to change your environment. The fastest way to learn Japanese is to go to Japan, because you're around it constantly. So if you want to be more loving, be around people who are more loving. You want more self-confidence for yourself, be around people who are more self-confident.
What is the life that you want? What are the goals that you have for yourself? Where do you want to be in your health, in your relationships, in your business, your finances? What do you actually want out of life? Not what somebody else's perfect life looks like. Right? You go on Instagram and you see people living on the beach and rolling around in money. Like that, maybe that's what you want, but maybe it's not what you want. Right? We get pulled into all these different directions because we don't have clarity over what we actually want. So what do you actually want? What do you want out of life? Where do you want your business to be? What kind of company do you want to run? What are the ethics and morals that your company is based off of? Who do you want to serve and how do you want to help them? How do you want to show up in your relationship? Who are you looking for in your partner? If you already have a partner, how do you want to show up better for them? All of the things that matter to you, to get as clear as possible, so that when you see somebody else is doing something else and they're happy, great. You don't have to go do it because you're happy chasing down your goals. Part of the challenge is we see other people who are happy, and often it's not even real happiness. It's just, fake happiness for the camera. But you see somebody who looks happy, you know that you're not happy, and you think, well, maybe if I did that, then I'll be happy. Maybe if I go write a poem like they did, I'll be happy. And then you start to write a poem and realize I hate writing poems, right? So it's getting clear over what do you actually want in your life? Who's the person that you want to be? And again, from your finances to your business, to the relationships, to your to health, the different areas of your life. Get as clear as you can on the things that you want out of your life.
You need to make the big decisions in your life with your heart and the small ones with your head. This is where so many entrepreneurs fall down. This is where so many entrepreneurs make mistakes, because you see a trend, you see an opportunity, you see something that makes sense. It just makes sense on paper. It's so clear that this is going to happen. But if it doesn't energize you, if you don't love it, if it's not in your heart to say, man, I can't wait to go off and do that thing, you're never going to win. You're never going to win, because you're going up against people who love it. You're going up against people who love it, who breathe it, who sleep it, who dream about it. And for you, it's just an opportunity. You're never going to win big. Look at all your heroes, all your mentors, the people you look up to, the people who've done it. It's like, I want to be like this person in my field. I want to do it like she did it, like he did it. They love doing the thing. They love doing the thing. Doing it gives them energy. I look at what I do. I'm here in Dallas. I'm about to speak at Video Marketing World, an annual summit of some of the top creators on YouTube, to help share, give back, help the community, give feedback, train on YouTube. I love doing this stuff. What am I? I'm in the parking lot filming videos for you guys. Not because it's a strategy, not because I need to make a video a day, because I love it. This is the best. I'm about to go into this meeting, to this conference, and I'm gonna hang out with entrepreneurs all day long. From the time I get in there until whatever time AM, I'm going to be hanging out with entrepreneurs and helping them with their business, helping them with their channel, because I love it. And if that sounds exhausting for you, amazing. Don't do it. And if it sounds energizing for you, yes, go and do it. You need to make the big decisions with your heart. And then your head's still important. It's like, don't listen. It's not, the message is not, don't listen to logic. The message is not, don't look for opportunities. It's look for opportunities within the thing that you love. Right? If I love making videos and I love making content and I love helping entrepreneurs, but I went all in on MySpace right now, I'm going to lose. It's not the right strategy, right? You need both. It's working hard plus working smart. It's following what you love doing plus chasing opportunities. But what takes precedence? What's the most important thing? Your heart, the energy. If you are saying, oh man, Monday, if that's your mindset around Monday, you're doing the wrong thing. You're in the wrong career, you're in the wrong business. You will never be the top player in your industry. It'll never happen for you if that's your mindset. If you're itching to get back to it, if you can't wait to go to that meeting, can't wait to code, can't wait to make that piece of art, can't wait to go and make that video, can't wait to sit down and write lyrics for your next song, if that's the thing, then you're going to be successful. It's not going to be easy. It's still a long road. It's still a path. You still have to put in the grind and the effort and use strategies to help you get there faster. But it has to start by doing things that are energizing to you. You're going to spend so much time working. Guys, you're going to spend so much time working as an entrepreneur. Why not do stuff that makes you come alive? Why not do stuff that gives you energy? And so I want you to get out of your head. I want you to stop making decisions first from your head. I want you to stop making decisions only because it's going to help you get some goal. It's short-term thinking, and you're never going to win doing it. Big decisions with the heart. Big decisions that give you energy. Look at your calendar. Are you energized about the week that's coming up? Look at your calendar. Go load your calendar right now. Load it on your computer, load it on your phone, however you're loading your calendar. Look at it. Look at your calendar. Look at the week ahead. Are you excited? Are you excited about what you're about to do? If not, you're doing the wrong stuff. If you're only excited about 10% of your calendar, you're only pouring your genius, your Michael Jordan level talent into 10% of your time, you're not going to get to where you want to go. You need to flip it. Even if it doesn't make practical sense at the beginning. Because all great things are made from the heart. All great things, every great business, every great song, every great creation started from here, from a place of passion, from a place of purpose, from a place of energy. And I want to put some pressure on you guys to go off and chase it down, because so many entrepreneurs fail and they lose a lot of money. It's not an easy game. But one of the biggest reasons, if not the number one reason, is because people pick an industry, people pick a business idea solely because they're chasing an opportunity down and they didn't love doing the work.
This is why it's so important that you love what you do. It's why it's the number one rule for success that comes up over and over and over and over again, is people love what they do. The people who are winning at the highest level, they love what they do. That allows them to be relentless, because you could talk about being relentless and giving it all you've got and going all in and grinding and giving 110%. But if you don't love it, you're gonna quit. It may not be after a day, may not be after a month, may not be after a year, but you're gonna quit. When it gets too hard and you don't love it, you will quit. This is why so many entrepreneurs fail, because you're just chasing an opportunity. You're just looking at the fastest way to make a buck in 2019, in 2020, in 2021, the fastest way to make some money. You're gonna give up unless you love it. Now, money's important, it's gotta be in your top 5, but it's not number 1. It can't be number 1. If money's your number 1, you're gonna fail. You just won't put in the work. The people who win have something that they put above money, and that's what allows them to wake up and be relentless and put in the work. You're looking at a guy here who sucked at making videos. You can go back on my channel, you can watch the first videos. I was nervous, I was shy. I still am an introvert, but it's through practice, through being relentless. I've had my channel for 10 years. I've made 5,000 or 6,000 videos across my more than 4 now, 9 or so channels. 5,000 or 6,000 videos, that's crazy, right? That's crazy, who does that? You have to love it. It doesn't feel like work. Making these videos is fun for me still. 10 years later, it's still fun for me. I'm excited. The second that it gets to be, oh, I gotta make videos, that's it, I'm out. Because the people who love doing it will crush me. I was looking at my YouTube thumbnail examples. I'm doing a YouTube course right now where I'm teaching people how to have success on YouTube, how to get your first 1 million subscribers. Where is it? Get there, that gold button. Get one of those for you, right? You're a thought leader, you're an expert. I want you to get 1 million subscribers. That's the course that I'm launching right now. So I'm looking at my thumbnail experiments. I have 130 thumbnail experiments happening right now on my channel. I'm testing 130 different variations. Then I went to completed and what we've completed and gone through. 1,100 something completed thumbnail experiments, just on thumbnails. Just testing my thumbnails, we've done over 1,100 different experiments. That's crazy, right? Testing big changes like not having text on a thumbnail and making it purple and crazy colors, to really little tiny changes. Like, what if we just tweak this person's eyes? What if we alter the shade of orange? Just little tiny changes that most of you probably never notice. Why? I love it. I can't help it. I wake up and I think about this stuff. And that's what I want for you. That's what you need to be doing, and it can't be forced. Jerry Seinfeld calls it the torture that you can endure. The torture that you can endure. Most people talk about passion and purpose, which is great, but it's torture for other people. I think everyone is born an optimist, and then your environment sucks the soul out of most people. When you're a baby, you don't stress out about how you look, what you're wearing, or how you're smelling. When you're a kid, you don't hate your life and complain about the world. If there's negativity in your head, it was put there by someone. And if you want to change it, you need to change your environment. So I've had the good pleasure of seeing one of my friends, Mark Drager, a great friend of the channel, been involved with the channel for a number of years, become more optimistic, become more positive. And he was wondering, could I even do it? Is it possible? He was a guy who was naturally pessimistic. He had a lot of stuff happen to him, like we all have. A lot of situations, a lot of circumstances that made him see the negative of what's happening, of be pessimistic, of not being the typical optimistic, everything's gonna work out great entrepreneur. And so what changed? Over the past 12 months, he's made a significant investment in himself. I've been hanging around with him a lot more. We've co-hosted a podcast together. He's hanging around me, my content, Gary Vee's content, Tom Bilyeu's content more. He's been to Tony Robbins' seminar twice in the past year, brought his team with him, and he's slowly inching towards more optimism, more positivity, that more things are possible. Because of the negative upbringing that he had, it takes a lot of unwiring. It takes a lot of shifting your focus. It takes a lot of, with purpose, with intent, changing your environment, changing the people you hang out with, changing the physical environment that you're in to make a change. I went to Mark's office and he's moving his office. He's creating his own office. He's putting a picture on the wall of himself and then what he wants to be as positive inspiration every day. He's looking at what kind of colors and what kind of furnishings and what kind of decor can I have in my office to make me feel bold, to make me feel alive every single day. It's possible. And I think that's the starting point for a lot of people. It's possible to change your outlook. It's possible to become more optimistic. That negativity that was planted in your head was put there by somebody else who hates their life. You were not born to wake up and hate your life.
You're not born to wake up and think that it's just negativity all around the world. You're not born to wake up and be a pessimist. You're not. It was put there by somebody else who hated their life. And we need to eject that person. We need to unwire the years or decades of training. And in that void, you replace it with the thing that you want. If you want more optimism, you surround yourself with the most optimistic people you can find. In person, on your team, in video format, in the books you read, in the clubs you're hanging out with, you first limit access from the negative people, limit exposure. You may not be able to completely wipe them out, like maybe they're your parents, but you can limit exposure, you can limit access, either with time or just topics that you're covering, and then inject more positivity and optimism to the people, books, resources, environment that you have around you. The problem isn't that you're not a genius, that you're not talented, that you don't have wisdom and abilities and resourcefulness, and that you're not Michael Jordan. That's not the problem. The problem is you're not focused. You're not doing the things that you need to do. I just came back from Video Marketing World in Dallas, and I was being asked about where to spend your time, which social media sites to spend time on. And I think this is a classic example of where entrepreneurs fail. Is you're trying to do everything, and as a result, you suck everywhere and feel burnt out, tapped out, and not building momentum. If you get to the end of a week and you feel like you worked your face off, but you look back and what did I get done? If that's how you're ending a week, you worked hard and you feel like, what did I get done? You're not focused. You're switching between tasks too much. Instead of having all of these social media sites at the same time, pick one and crush it. I quoted Andrew Carnegie at my event, at my speech. My favorite quote from him is, put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket. Everybody's saying diversify, diversify, diversify. Have 18 different multiple streams of income. Look at the people who are a one-person show with 18 streams of income. They're making no money. You're making $10 a month from this and $25 a month from that and 18 cents from this. You're not making money. Now, as you build and scale and grow and you have a team like I do, I've got 24 people on my team, okay, great, now it might be time to diversify. But as a solo person, you can't do everything yourself. And you are a genius. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. And that's what you need to find. And that's what you need to spend as much time as possible on until you're making money. You can invest back into your business and continue to grow. There's a reason why in my videos I say you have Michael Jordan level talent. I believe it. It's true. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. You are the best, the absolute best at something in the world. Most people, either one, don't believe it. They don't believe that they're world class at something. Or two, they found the thing that they could be world class at, but they don't have enough guts to chase it down. They don't believe in themselves enough to chase it down. Here's the thing. You need to first explore. You need to explore. You got to search. You got to say yes. You got to try things. You don't know that Tim Hortons is your favorite coffee cup until you've tried it, right? You don't know that sushi is your favorite food until you've tried it. Sushi doesn't make sense, right? This is how we think. Our logical brain starts to analyze things, and because it doesn't make sense, we don't try it. Sushi doesn't make sense. You're going to take raw fish, mix it with rice, put seaweed around it, and then eat it. That sounds nasty, right? If you've never tried it before, it sounds nasty, but it's the best. A lot of the things that you might be great at, you are judging, you are dismissing because it doesn't make logical sense. You don't need to wrap your head around it. You need to wrap your heart around it. You have to feel it. You have to say yes and be willing to try it at least once. If you don't know what you're great at, you have to say yes and try things. And you pay attention to the feeling. The most important thing is you pay attention to the feeling. How did it make you feel? You might not be great at it. I expect not to get results at the beginning of anything, especially if it's a new skill you're learning, right? Expect to suck at the beginning. You're gonna suck. It's okay, it's normal. But how does it make you feel? Does it energize you? Do you wanna come back and do it again? If you change how you feel about something, you change how you act. The problem is, most of the time, we don't catch our feelings. If you're feeling negative, angry, frustrated, depressed, it doesn't matter what the thing is that you're trying to accomplish. You're not going to give it your all and you're not going to get results because of your negative emotional state. If you don't start changing how you feel, you're never going to make progress on the goals that you set for yourself. So one of the things I love doing whenever faced in a negative situation is say it's the best. It's the best. I'm wearing this hat.
says Fanta because friend of the channel, Mark Drager, pointed out to me when I was saying it's the best that I'm a reframer. I'm reframing. I never heard of the concept before. Reframing means you take this negative situation and then you spin it, you reframe it so that it's positive, so that it motivates you, so that it's exciting, so that it pushes you forward instead of it being a negative thing that is all-encompassing and depressing and brings you down. And he said, well, you're always positive because you're just a reframer. And he has this Enneagram, and I'm a number 6 or something. I don't know. He can give you more details. You want to know what number you are and what it means, go follow mark.drager on Instagram and ask him. But I don't think that's something that's just in me. I think everybody can learn how to do it. Everybody can learn how to reframe. You take whatever negative situation that's in front of you and say, this is the best. Right now, this is the best. Where this came from was I was on an airplane from Vancouver to Los Angeles. And that's a 5-hour flight, give or take. And I had to sit next to this really smelly dude. And there was no other option. I had to stay on the plane. I had to make my flight. I had to speak at this event. The only other option was get off the plane. And he was really smelly. I'm sure he didn't want to be smelly. I'm sure that wasn't his, intention or ambition. It just happened. Probably had 3 stopovers, hadn't showered in however long, and just, he stunk. And in my head, I'm trying to find solutions. There's no solutions. And so I'm upset. I'm complaining, there's 15 seconds of back and forth. Say, this sucks. I can't believe it. And then here's what happens in my head. I say, this is the best. This negative thing that's in front of me right now, this is the best. This is my chance to show myself what I'm made of, right? And so he's sitting right here next to me. I'll look over and just breathe it in. Breathe that in. Breathe in that smell. Breathe it in. To show myself that this is not the limit, that this one dude is not going to ruin my day. And I feel great now about myself because self-confidence comes from doing difficult things. And I just did something difficult. And that's where it's the best came from. It was a quick trigger to myself to say, this is the best. It's the best. And now it's become this thing that anytime I'm facing a really negative situation that feels overwhelming, impossible, just want to complain, find somebody to blame and say, it's your fault. No, this is the best. This is my chance to show myself and the world what I am made of. And so you can flip it for yourself. What is so overwhelming, so impossible, so crazy that is bringing you down? You look at your calendar, you look at your list of emails, and it's just depressing. Great. This is the best. If you believe, like I believe, that your purpose comes from your pain, if you believe that the thing that you struggled with the most in life becomes your calling for the rest of your life, the time that you struggled and suffered the most as a human, your purpose for the rest of your life is to help other people who currently are who you used to be, then that thing that happened, that massively negative thing, the most painful moment in your life, actually is the best. Because it's going to allow you to serve hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of people through your purpose. So that negative thing's in front of you. Tell yourself, it's the best.
Hard work is your ticket in. No matter where you come from, what you look like, what your skills are, hard work is always the ticket in. The odds might be against you. Awesome. Now what? Quit on your dreams or keep working hard? How you answer that question will change your life. So I have an agent in New York, and when I first started the agency, I almost didn't get in. I didn't get in because I'm a weird case for them. My agent now, he looked at me back then, and this must have been 6 or 7 years ago by now, and he said, Evan, I love your message. The problem is you're not a very good communicator. And that hurt at the beginning because I had already done some speaking gigs. I'd already been making videos for 3 or 4 years. I'd had hundreds, if not 1,000 videos already under my belt, and here he is saying that I suck at communicating. And he said the people that he typically works with are people who are already in media, who have tons of experience, who are great in front of the camera. They need help refining their message. He said, for you, I love your message. You've got a great message. You just suck at being able to communicate it. I'm like, oh, wow. And so, okay, great. Well, where do we go from here? And he said, I'm going to take a flyer on you. I don't normally do this. I'm going to take a flyer on you and see where you go. And I didn't want to waste my opportunity. I didn't even know that you could get an agent as a business person, as an entrepreneur, as a speaker. I mean, I guess I heard of speaking houses, but an agent, I thought more entertainment or sports, not for business. So I didn't want to lose this opportunity. I didn't want to regret not giving it my best. And so I said, okay, great. Tell me what I need to do. I'm the worst right now. Awesome. I don't have the skills that everybody else here has. How can I get better? What do I need to do? Tell me. And he said, okay, so your first challenge is I need you to make a bio video. I need you to tell your story, a foundation story video
make it 20 to 40 minutes long, and record it, and I'm gonna look at it, and I'm gonna give you my feedback on it. Okay, great. So I recorded it the next day, and it was in the morning. I recorded it, sent it to him. He gave me feedback, and then at lunch I recorded it again. He gave me feedback. I recorded it again in the evening. And I did it 30 to 40 times. That's a lot over the course of however many days, 10 to 12 days, I guess. I recorded the video over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Every time he gave me feedback, I do it again. Feedback, do it again. And I got better. And I got better. And over the course of a couple months, when I was making 3 videos a day, practicing, sucking, but just practicing and trying to get better and listening to feedback and trying to improve, I quickly became the best case at the agency. I quickly became the #1 person from views, from subscribers, from best practices. I copy what Evan's doing. Now I'm being brought on to help them with their clients and train some of them on how they can get better on YouTube and build their brand. From being the worst, from being the guy who almost didn't get in. Because the people who were joining them, one, maybe had bigger egos, but also were having a hard time finding the time to make a video a week. And if they're not making a video a week or having a hard time doing it, and I'm making 3 a day, even if I suck, I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna outpace just because I'm willing to work, just because I'm putting in the effort. You might not have the skills, you might not have the talent, you might not have the looks, you might not have what you think you need to have. How does an introvert build a huge audience and spread a huge message and be famous on YouTube? I don't know. I mean, I'm working on it. Join me on my journey. We'll figure it out together. That was my agent's concern when I first got started, and I'm breaking the mold and doing things in a way that haven't been done. And you can do the same thing through hard work. Hard work doesn't guarantee your success. There's a lot of people who work really hard and never win. A lot of people who work 12-hour days and are doing minimum wage jobs. They're working hard and they don't win. You have to work hard and you have to work smart, but it's not one or the other. The people who were in the agency were working smart, but we're making 1 video a week. I was working less smart, but making 3 videos a day. So I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get smarter. I'm gonna make it faster. I'm gonna show you what I can do. Hard work is always your ticket in. And one of the biggest problems is people just aren't working either hard enough or smart enough. You just want it too soon, and you can be impatient, and it's amazing. But better than being impatient with the results is being impatient with yourself. Most people are impatient with the results. Like, it's not coming fast enough. Like, where are my subscribers? Where are my views? It's not happening. My first video took me a year to get 3 comments. And the first comment was my mom, the second was my sister, and the third was some random dude, right? A year to get 3 comments, and 2 of the people were my family. You're impatient with the results. What you should be is impatient with yourself. When you're not getting results, when it's not happening, audit yourself. Are you putting in the work? Are you doing enough work? Are you working smart enough? Are you applying the right strategies? Get more frustrated with yourself and your effort more than that the results aren't there. Because if you woke up every day and did that equivalent of making 3 videos a day when other people are making 1 video a week, you will eventually win. It might be slower than you'd like, but it's always slower than you'd like, but you will eventually win because hard work is always your ticket in. Most people have not taken control of their schedules. You wake up like an accident, start responding to other people's emergencies, and help other people build their dreams instead of you building yours. It's time for a change. You deserve better, and this video is gonna show you how. I think one of the biggest reasons why so many entrepreneurs don't take enough action is because when you get motivated, you don't do enough. You feel the motivation, you feel the boldness, you feel the confidence, but you're not taking enough action, you're not doing enough. I remember going to my first Tony Robbins event. This is before I knew Tony one-on-one, before I did the interview with him on my channel. I just went to see what would the event be like. I've seen so many different videos of so many different people, and I felt like, you know what? For most people going to their event, it'd probably be the same as just watching on YouTube. But for Tony, I felt, you know what? I think his event might be different. There's something that tells me by going to his event, it'll be different than what I just see on YouTube through the content. And so I went. I went with my wife. I went with 3 people on my team. I paid for everybody to go out and went to our first Tony Robbins event. And at the end of the last day, if you've never been to a Tony Robbins event, it's on fire, you're motivated, you're jumping, you're dancing, you're hugging, you're high-fiving, you're breaking through limits. It's amazing. By the end of the last day, you see everybody in the streets, you're pouring out, everybody's all pumped up and energized, like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that.
I remember one of the people that I brought with me, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do all this stuff. And he's like yelling and so fired up and excited. He's like, well, what are you doing, Evan? I'm like, I'm looking at my calendar. Because this is why so many people fall off. You go to an event like that and then you fall off because you're not making it consistent. Success is habits. So whenever you decide to make a change, you have to, at least for me, I look immediately to my calendar. So if my goal is now I wanna be a big YouTuber, great. When am I gonna make videos? It's gotta be in the calendar. If it's not in the calendar, it's never gonna happen. And so anytime you wanna make a meaningful change, you have to default to thinking, what am I gonna put into my calendar? Because success is habits. And so it's great to be motivated. Maybe these videos do it for you. Maybe events, maybe books, podcasts, awesome. You're getting it from somewhere. You feel motivated, great. Show me in your calendar where you are spending the time to actually make the thing happen. Otherwise, you're just living off some fumes. You know, you get motivated for a day or two, feels amazing, and then you fall back down to normal. If you want that dream life, you want that next step for yourself, it's gotta come from changing your habits, changing what's in your calendar to make sure that what you say you want out of life, you're actually working towards making that happen. Every time you say, I can't, you're teaching yourself that you suck. Because you've quit, because you've given up. It's not your fault that you can't do it. It's your work, or your school, or your family, or all the other commitments that you have, but not your fault. Nope. 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 Change your I can'ts to either I'm going to or I choose not to. That's how you take back control of your decisions and your life. So I recently listened to this Chinese song and I got obsessed with it. I was playing it all day long and I loved it. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what the words mean. I loved it. I go to bed and lyrics start coming to me. Rap lyrics. In full sentences, right? The first one comes in, okay, wake up, I'm in bed, I'm lying in bed, I'm trying to sleep. You know, it's 11 o'clock, trying to sleep. Idea, rap lyric come, okay. I write it down. Again, rap lyrics come, write it down. More, write it down. Until 3 in the morning, I haven't slept yet. Ideas just keep coming for this song that's like, I need to make a rap. And then what comes into my head is, what? You're gonna make a rap? It's easy to get locked into I can't mode. I can't do this. I can't start that. I can't do a rap. I didn't go to school for that. Not that you go to school for rap. You know, I didn't rap growing up. I don't have musical talent, right? That's not what people know me for. That's not what people expect from me. I can't rap. That's where most people quit. But instead, I decided I was gonna get up at 3 something in the morning, go to my computer, finish writing out my lyrics, and then I spent the day rapping. And that night, finished the video, sent it off to Christina, my editor, to put it together, and the next day we released my rap video. Now, maybe you love it, maybe you hate it, it's gotten some decent responses. It was tons of fun to put together, and most importantly, I taught myself in all of these things. These are all great micro moments to teach yourself that you're amazing. Whenever you say, I can't, and you do it, that's how you build self-confidence. That's the birthplace of self-confidence, self-love, self-respect, is taking something that you think that you can't do and just trying. Not even doing it full out, because I don't expect my rap to go off and win any kind of awards, right? But I tried it, I did it, I released it. Expect to suck at the beginning, that's okay, it's normal, it's part of the process. But in those moments of I can't, and then turning them into something that actually exists, is where your genius will come. I look at my top 10 series, and it's partly why I have Kanye on my wall, because the first video that I made was on Kanye. First top 10 was on Kanye. It was 5 years into my YouTube career. I did a response to my friend Mark Drager from Phantom Media. And I said initially, I can't do this. Like, I can't make a video now on this. I have all these other commitments. I have a full day ahead of other stuff that I'm supposed to do. And said, no, I did action. I'm just gonna do it. Forget it. I'm gonna make it. And I didn't expect it to do well. Luckily, it actually did. And then that became this whole thing of making, I don't know how many top 10s, hundreds, maybe 1,000. I don't know how many top 10. How many top 10s have I done? I have no idea. But it started off as just idea. Trust your ideas. Know that they're amazing. Stop saying I can't to yourself. This is where you need to take control of your head and your heart. You have to make decisions with your heart and then use your head to figure out how to do it. Anytime you're doing something new, super important. Anytime you're doing something new, I'm gonna make a rap,
I'm gonna make a top 10 video. I'm gonna do anything outside my normal thing, right? Same for you. Anytime you're doing something new, it doesn't make sense because it's new. What is brand new doesn't make sense. You're creating something new. And so your head, your logical brain that's designed to keep you safe, doesn't understand it. Its job is to protect you and says, don't do that. You can't do that because one, it's never been done, and because we have all these reasons why it's not possible for you, not just anybody else, for you. Like, you can't do it because you haven't done it before. That's what your head says. Your heart can create something new. Your heart creates art. Your heart makes up a world that hasn't existed before. And so at the very beginning of many projects, your head and your heart are against each other. Your heart's saying, I want to make this. Your head's saying, you can't make this. And so you end up staying stuck in limbo with all these ideas, never taking momentum because your head and your heart are fighting. You've got your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time, never moving, knowing that you're capable of more. And so you make the big decisions in your life with your heart, and then you rally your head to say, okay, we're doing this. I'm making the rap video. I'm making the top 10. You're gonna do your crazy idea. And then your head says, ooh, okay, they're serious. Let's figure out how not to die doing this, right? Let's figure out how to actually make it work. So you make the big decisions in life with the heart, and then you use your head to figure out how to go out and accomplish it. If you want to become a millionaire or influence a million people, you need to learn to build trust. This is where you can really win as an entrepreneur because people have a really hard time trusting big companies to do the right thing. So this is where you win. You win by not trying to be exactly like the big companies. You win by showing that you actually care and will do the right thing by the customer. So bringing it to a YouTube world as an example, I think everybody should be responding to all comments. One of the things that I believe in is every comment we try to get a response to. Every comment gets a response. Every comment gets a response. And at the beginning when you're doing a YouTube channel, it's easy. My first video on YouTube, it took me a year to get 3 comments. I made a video. Within 1 year, there were only 3 comments on that video. The first comment was my mom. Thank you, Mom. The second comment was my older sister. Thank you, Alexandra. And the third comment was from some random dude, a new star. Somebody discovered my channel, right? 1 year, 3 comments. Those are pretty easy to respond to, right? It's super easy in the early days when you're not getting comments. If you're getting a comment a day, a comment a week, a couple comments a day, it's easy to respond to. What happens when people scale is they stop responding to comments because they don't know how to scale the business. Because at the beginning, they're doing everything themselves and it doesn't take up a lot of time, but as you start getting more comments, it starts to take up more time. I get hundreds of comments every day on my YouTube channel. I can't respond to every single comment personally myself. If I could, if I did it, then I wouldn't do anything else. I wouldn't be making this video because I was spending all my time responding to people's comments, right? That's the process. But just like any other business, when you start a business, you're doing everything yourself. If you start selling flowers on the street, you're doing everything, right? You got to find the flowers, you got to sell the flowers, you got to distribute the flowers, you're doing everything. As you grow and as you get a flower store, then you bring on a team, right? And you have people who are selling flowers for you and opening the store for you and cleaning the store for you. You're still doing work, right? You're doing more important work. You can't do all of the tasks in the business at all times. If you're always doing everything, you're never going to scale. And so I believe that bigger YouTube channels should hire a team to respond to comments. I have an awesome guy on my team named Velko, who you'll see responding to a lot of comments, and he'll save the comments that I need to see. So if there's feedback or suggestions or improvements, I want to see them. If there's criticism, I want to see it. If it's just saying, thank you, Evan, for the video, amazing. I feel the love. I don't need to see all of those comments that come in, right? I'll sort through some of them, respond to some of them, but that's not going to be the best use of my time every day because then I'm not making videos. And so make that equivalent for yourself. At the beginning, it's easy to show heart, easy to show care because you don't have that many customers, because maybe you only have 1 customer. And so you can show them the love. But as you scale and grow, how can you continue to do that? Whether it's you doing that most important element yourself because that's the thing that drives it, or you have people on your team that really show that love and support because you want to make sure the customer feels respected and appreciated. It's really easy to build trust in a one-on-one situation. It's harder as you build and scale your clients. And so you need to build and scale your culture alongside. Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you're different. you are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome.
If you like this video, and you will for sure like the next one, Jeff Bezos' top 10 rules for success, check out the video next to me. I think you're gonna enjoy. Continue to believe. I will see you there.
Be stubborn on vision and flexible on details. You really can't accomplish anything important if you're not stubborn on vision.